So we'll go ahead and get
So-
started with Shadowrun. If there's any questions about your character or technicalities, just remember, since we haven't played together in like a year, I don't really care about the rules to Shadowrun. The best way to play Shadowrun is to ignore 9 out of 10 of all the rules. And so when in doubt, most things I'm going to ask you for is what's the rating on your equipment and what's your pool. So if I ask you to roll something, all I really care about is the pool, and then I'll give you bonuses or minuses. So if you have a pool of 12, which is average for your primary skills, I might say, well, you're under pressure and you took a bullet, so you're going to be a -3, so you'll roll a 9. And what we're going to do is click that button on Roll20. Hopefully you guys see it all at the bottom of your Roll20, the roll button.
Yep.
It's on the top.
Yeah, and if you select a token, it should pop up on the top left as well, right?
Mhm.
So just as a refresher, that's how we're going to roll. You're free to roll in person. If you have the D6, you're going to need at least 15 of them. But Roll20 will handle it pretty well. And then, so you can see here, I rolled 9d6. I got 1 glitch, which is a 1, and I got 2 hits, which is 5 and 6s. An actual glitch, which is like a nat 1 in D&D, is when more than half of your pool comes up as 1s. All right. So if I roll 9d6, if I get 5 1s, then that's a glitch. That's essentially a nat 1. And if you have so there's like minor glitches and major glitches, right? And so you see how it's highlighted red here. This macro is wonderful. So we got 3 5s and a 1, right, on a pool of 7. So like the 1 doesn't matter because it's not more than your hits or more than half of your roll. So if you roll, like I said, I rolled 96. If I rolled 5 1s, that's a nat 1. That means that you might die, right? If I rolled 2 hits and I rolled 3 1s, that's a minor glitch. That means that the roll succeeds, but it doesn't. But there's consequences, right? And so I'm going to be using, if you're familiar with D&D, difficulty class. So most checks are going to be like you need 3 or 4 or 5 hits in order to pass. So think about it like that. And I'll tell you if you want. Most of the time, I'll just say go ahead and roll for it, and I'll let you know if you pass or fail. So like this one here, Zero rolled 6 hits. That's fantastic. That's a high-end roll. That's basically a nat 20 for most checks.
Even with 14, with a pool of 14.
Yeah. So that's where Shadowrun's weird against other systems is you've got 12, 15, 20 d6, and the hits are what determine your success, right? So 5s and 6s. So 6 hits, most tests are going to be 3 or 4 hits. Easy tests would be like 2 hits required. So if this was a 4-hit test, you would pass that with 2 extra hits. And the extra hits means that you get to do extra stuff. And so I'll offer, all right, you got more hits than you needed. Would you like to do what would you like to do above and beyond? Like you succeeded plus some. So that's pretty much just a refresher on Shadowrun. And again, I'm mostly just worried about your equipment rating and your pools. And then we are going to be very loosey-goosey with the rolls. In combat, we're going to... there probably won't be any combat this session, but the way Shadowrun runs, combat is very complicated. We're going to streamline quite a bit of it. You have your health pool and your stun pool. If your stun gets to 0, you pass out. If your health gets to 0, you're in a critical condition. So some attacks will do stun damage. If you take a 50 caliber bullet to your chest and you have a bulletproof vest, some of that's going to penetrate that vest, but it's also going to break some ribs. That would be a combination of health and stun damage. Casting spells, if you're a magic user, you will cast a spell, you'll tell me what the force is. It can be up to your maximum magic, so if most magicians, their magic is 6. You can cast it at force 1, force 2, all the way up to force 6. And then depending on the force of your spell, you'll have to soak I forget what the term is for it, but you'll have to roll to try and absorb that damage. So if I cast a fireball at force 6, the fireball will probably say on my sheet like F -2, or maybe even F +1. That's the force you cast a spell at, plus or minus a number, and that's the number that you need to roll against. So if I know it's very complicated, but you can take stun damage if you cast a high-level spell and fail the roll. So just think about that. You don't have a mana pool or spell slots, but it will fatigue you, and you might pass out.
Mm-hmm. Well, good thing I don't do some magic anymore. Well, I do, but in a different way. I'm currently playing an adept.
So Zero's an adept?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going through the invisible way, so he's stealth oriented.
So Zero's kind of like a mutant or an X-Men.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Nice.
I don't.
As long as he doesn't start
Stick to
speaking in haikus.
No,
I don't see myself on the screen.
Who are we missing?
Dante.
Dante.
I'm trying to figure out how to change my tumor to an actual like sheet.
Do we have Rec?
So you have to
I
go on
think
Charmer?
that was Mondo. I don't think he's been here since like the first game.
Yeah.
I thought I would have Dante.
Yeah, I was here last year.
Interesting. Yeah, well, you don't exist anymore.
No.
Dante, by the way, if you want to export your Charmer file into a PDF file, I suggest you go under Print, and then you go Print PDF. And then it'll turn your file into a PDF, and then you can open it through Chrome. Or
Oh,
whatever.
save as PDF. Okay, I see it now.
Mm-hmm. That's how I did it, because the other way it exports in Charmer. Not in PDF.
Yeah, it's like a chum file. It's pretty funny.
And you
Yeah,
can't even
mine
open
keeps
it
getting an
without
XSLT error. But that's fine. I can just use Chummer itself.
We'll just very quickly make sure everybody's represented here.
I can't even remember. I know I sent a thing with it, but I don't remember what I looked like.
It's all right. So, any technicalities, we'll just work them out, because we got like 2 weeks until the next session, so plenty of time.
Yeah. Well, I am
No need to
a
stress.
Nocturna elf, so.
I'm running into the same problem I did before. I'm trying to figure out how much damage my elemental grenades do.
Yeah. So and trust me, like, I'm so loosey goose. Like, when you say, "Well, I'd like to throw one of these elemental grenades," I'm just gonna ask you a couple questions, and we're gonna go from there. And if you don't know the answer, we'll just wing it. Like, I don't know what my pool is. Well, let's just give you a 10, and we'll go from there. And we're just gonna motor along, because there's so much. And I like that you guys are using Chummer. The other crew, I could not get them. I can't even get them to show up sober to the game. So there's no way I'm getting them to show up.
Here, this is the character.
Oh, nice.
Oh, he's a jag a year.
But he doesn't.
No,
throw
I mean, it was the closest thing I could find to what I was. I'm a sniper user.
Yeah, I throw daggers now. I'm the throwing knife guy. He's stealing my concept.
Hey, your concept is new.
Yeah, but he was a sniper.
I've been
All
a
right,
sniper.
so we'll just go ahead and move along with the session. Like I said, if there's any issues with your character questions, we're going to wing it. And if you feel like I'm being too harsh, we'll hash it out. But this is going to be a pretty casual setting here. So this contract, I believe Nova is the group's hacker officially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys, like, do your characters hang out, or are you guys like lone wolves? Do you have a hideout?
I would imagine that Zero, because he's new to it, would appear on the first time they actually like talk about get the mission briefing.
Yeah, so I imagine maybe there's a place that you guys meet up. It could be like somebody's apartment. Nova's probably got a nice apartment.
Yeah. At this
Could
point,
be
probably
Shadowrunner
since the
Bar.
last
Oh, I know
job,
Chris
we're
did.
probably just Nova's personal bodyguard now.
I mean,
Probably.
is the
It's like
mission
he's got
briefing
nothing else
happen
going for him.
in Nova's apartment?
I mean, I'm fine with
mean-
wherever.
Krim just knows that if he
Either.
gets a call, he can go. He can basically show up anywhere, anywhere that they'll allow a troll through the door.
Well, wherever it is, Zero is gonna appear walking on the ceiling.
Does Nova let people in?
Oh,
Is
he's a
that
cocky little shit, is he?
If I have to. Stealth specialist.
Well, Nova kind of just uses bunnies around with the Hellhounds a lot
I see.
for her after hour stuff. So if we're doing any sort of meeting for any sort of illegal gig, it'll probably be at the Hellhounds compound.
And do they are they cool with that being a
Oh, yeah.
Shadowrunner? Do they
Oh,
have
yeah,
like a dive bar or something that is off their turf?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah. So to set the scene, we'll have the crew meet up at this bar on Hellhound's turf, where you're not unwelcome as Shadowrunners, as criminals, as long as you don't start any issues with the gang. Your kneecaps are safe. So the crew, you guys are waiting for everybody to show up. You've made the phone calls. You've sent out the pigeon. And in the background, you can hear just the news is on. And there's a reporter saying, Aslan stock continues to plummet after potentially toxic rain ruins millions of acres of farmland in South America. Up next, there's been rumors that the Great Dragons are discussing the recent attacks and what actions they're expected to take against the aggressor dragon. Another zombie outbreak in the Seattle Undercity halts traffic in key commercial areas. Military forces are responding, but resources are stretched thin. Expect shipment delays this holiday season. That's the way you guys are waiting for everybody to show up. Nova gets a comms request from the person who arranged the gig. They're just reaching out basically by phone call across the matrix. You guys, as Shadowrunners, either working through fixers or getting on the dark web and getting contacts, people post feelers out and you bite on them and say, hey, we're a crew, we're looking for a gig. So Nova, this guy calls you on your comm. Oh, he'll show up right here.
100K up front?
So his Matrix avatar is really boring, as most corpo avatars are. It's just himself, basically a digital recreation of himself. And there is a little bit of static because you're on, he's going through the Seattle sprawl, and so there's always static on the net. He says, Did I reach Nova?
Yes,
I hear you guys are looking for a gig.
we are.
Does your crew have a name? I haven't, I've heard of you, of course, but
Krim in the Crazy Four. It's Krim in the Crazy Four.
No.
It's Christmas Killers.
No.
It's a Christmas Killers Club, all spelled with C's because no K's.
Man, I sure didn't think I needed to come up with a group name.
see you.
Usually
we'll
groups like
say
ours
that-
want to remain unknown.
This
So Krim is
is
shouting over your shoulder, and you've got him muted. You've got Scratch
Listen,
muted real quick.
when you first brought that up in the Discord and everyone was giving silly, stupid names, my brain went with the Shadow Money Gang, and I'm like, no. And then I cut off the thought of coming up with a name. Just then it just never happened in my brain again.
Shadowrunner
If
money
it
gang.
makes you feel better, And you might see their character sheets in the thing. Please, you can fuck around with them, go nuts, but please ignore it. I asked them the same question, and they said, we're the filthy nuggets. And they just came out of nowhere with it. And then one of the guys was like, no, dude, no. And now it's stuck. That's forever. So the filthy nuggets.
Nuggets. Well, I mean, it looks like I'm in my own group, which is the Holiday Crew.
That's the name I've assigned you. It doesn't have to be a holiday crew yet.
The December Destroyers.
The claws combusters.
So you hear
Our first gig didn't even have anything to do with Christmas.
So Scratch, he's like, hello? You've still got it muted.
The December Deviants. Yes, the December Deviants.
That's a good one. That's so far, that's top tier. So Scratch says, hello, Miss Nova.
Yes, one moment. We're having an issue over here.
What's wrong with the December Destroyers? Or the December Deviants?
It's too long.
The double D's? That's great.
Get it,
That's
yes.
great.
This is a reference to breast. Yes, I like.
over here with Double Nova and the double D's.
So Scratch.
Nova's
what's
double
it?
D's.
Nova's double D's. That's it. That's got to be it. All right. So Scratch says, I don't have a whole lot of dealing with Shadowrunners, and so I don't know how to feel. I assume you're professionals. You come highly recommended. Anyway, so the gig that I've reached out for you for actually comes from my great grandfather, who is unable to reach out on his own. In that, if you accept this mission, we have arranged a seance to contact him. He is currently an employed spirit with a subsidiary of a mega corporation that he'll get into further. So if you accept this mission, I would send you the details to this seance. I've heard rumors, I don't know, that you have a shaman in your group.
Yeah, that's me, man.
We do, yes.
Well, that will help. We were definitely going to need help with this ritual. I'm not a magician. We're trying to keep contact with this information as limited as possible. So if your shaman can come prepared to perform this summoning of my grandfather's spirit, we would appreciate your help.
All right. Thank you for that. I assume he'll know how to prepare.
Out of character, no fucking clue. I know I have elemental spirits.
So Scratch says, "Oh, I assure you, we've gathered the necessary reagents. We've consulted. We have a ritual circle prepared. We just need a magician to perform the final, connect the final dots."
Okay.
So just to make sure, druid is the same as shaman, right?
Oh yeah, it's all
Okay.
who cares? Yeah, the technicalities aren't that. And when I talk about like magic users, if you have magic, you can just do magic. Don't stress too much about your spell list. We're not going to worry about that.
Bruh.
I had a guy. He was like, well, can I just like rain ice shards down on them? I'm like, sure, make a roll for it. It's not on my spell list. I don't care, dude. This is Shadowrun.
I love my imagination.
All right, so I assume you guys are going to accept the mission. If not, I'll have to prep something else for you.
Yes.
This sounds spooky. This isn't spooky season now.
So Scratch has sent you the agreed upon amount. He sent you 100,000 new yen up front.
Sick.
The payment is it's not high, right? You've done missions for more lucrative sums. But this mission, Scratch has stressed that it's of a high importance and it's that mega corporation is involved. And he hasn't given you too much info. His great grandfather has more info. But by the sounds of it, whenever you mess with megacorps, if the mission goes well, you're going to come away with corporate secrets, maybe proprietary technology, or you might be able to put some thumb screws to somebody and get them to give you a bit more information that you can sell. So as Shadowrunners, you would know that some of these smaller missions, if they have a lucrative target, are worth more than the actual upfront cost or the payout.
Zero loves corporate secrets. He has an entire bad part of him. What's it called? A bad quality, where he has poor self-control, only for snooping around corporate secrets.
So I would say Zero would latch onto this mission. You have here a corpo guy who has reached out. He's not a fixer, right? And so this guy, typically corpos, when they reach out to Shadowrunners, are easy to con because they're not quite familiar with the criminal world. In fact, they don't want to get their hands dirty at all. So they rely on your expertise. Well, your expertise might be, hey, this mission's going to cost 5 times more than you think it is. And they don't know any better most of the time. So it seems like a juicy, naive kind of contract that you might be able to stack in your favor financially.
Yeah. And we're just sticking it to Corpo Scum.
Okay, but here you're helping Corpo Scum, so...
No, just kind of over there I'm technically Corpo Scum.
You're protecting her. Wow.
You're different.
I am different.
I'm the good guy.
And Krim just over here, just looking at the money, not knowing what to do with it.
Do you guys divvy out? Do you divvy out the payout before the mission?
Well, I mean, from all my other missions, I'm just like,
I was gonna say, do we get paid before the mission?
Yeah, it was 100K up front.
So this is 100K up front, and the client is assuming that these expenses are a show of good faith, that you may need them to buy ammunition, whatever Shadowrunners do, and they don't quite understand, the risk versus reward factor of it. So they think that 100 grand is good enough for your average Shadowrunner. So keep that in mind, that you guys have a history, and dealing with corpos, typically they don't understand the criminal world, so they can be coerced.
20K is just enough for my gas bill.
Yeah, that's renting a hot dog.
20K doesn't even pay for my insurance bill.
So you guys gather up. Do you take the sweet ass military ride?
I'm taking my own.
Oh yeah. I'm taking the military ride. Yeah. I got my bike in there as well. Listen, I spent a
crack on that thing.
I mean, you can put it inside.
No,
there's gotta be a hatch. Yeah. Is it a bicycle? Does Krim have a motorbike?
I'm sure you can zip tie it to one of the gun ports.
Okay.
I just imagine this big military vehicle with 2 motorcycles strapped to the roof.
No, I'm riding mine.
And a Schwinn.
Definitely not a Shadowrun vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow behind inside the assault hovercraft.
I'm gonna be right next to it. I'm gonna drive
I'm taking my own pickup.
in the middle of the road, right next to the big truck in my bike.
You can
guys have
drive
a
this
convoy.
Yeah, convoy.
Yeah, he's got a new character, so.
I know. I mean, I what is it called? One of the things I upgraded was I could drive now. I don't have to use AI to drive.
Yeah. I also gave myself driving skills.
I spent 60,000 new yen on retrofitting this thing.
That's what I love about Shadowrun, dude.
Well.
Yeah, I put dual grenade launchers and I replaced my headlights.
See, I installed a winch. I've got a middle of the line nano maintenance system. Got manual control override. I got an electromagnetic shielding for it. I've got the best life support for it. so we can cut off all the air and everything to the outside, completely seal it off. And it's got a missile defense system.
You know,
I'm more invested into like having a getaway vehicle, so more like concealed armor, like a gridlock override, personal armor, so that if I get shot at, I'm not dying. Secondary manual controls, so a passenger can also drive it. Maybe signature masking, smoke projectors, smuggling compartment, vehicle tag eraser, so I can get away.
one of the things that you have to be careful with, and Chummer may not be so good at tracking, is the rating of your item, if it's over or if it's restricted. So if it says like 12R, that means that if you don't have a license for that, which you probably can't because you're a civilian, like only a military, like active military personnel would have a license to own or operate this military vehicle, then pretty much every cop is going to be like pulling you over down the road. So, and I don't...
Krim is with a bike. His bike has a bell. It goes ring, ring,
So,
ring, ring.
Krim's the only one that doesn't get pulled over on the way here.
I mean, I try to mask everything that I have so that I don't get pulled over. I had that in mind. Like,
Yeah,
I have
you
a
have
secret
to.
compartment.
I mean, my truck is pretty
so that I can
unassuming.
smuggle shit, like weapons.
So here, let me pull your characters from the other one. So you guys arrive in your variety of assault vehicles at this. The coordinates that were given to you, it's an abandoned building on the outskirts of Redmond, and you guys kind of scope out the building from the outside, and you find that not only is it like abandoned and unoccupied, it's like poorly maintained. There's rats, so it's the perfect place to go under the radar for something like this. As you guys filter into this abandoned building, you can see, just like Scratch said, there is a ritual circle with magical reagents and components and idols placed around it. There's some lit candles, and Scratch himself is there, and he's middle-aged corporate man with a fancy haircut. He's got a cybernetic jaw implant that seems to function like as his comlink, probably enhanced neural processor. Typically, corpos have these things installed as part of their contract, and so their corporation will install cyberware onto them as part of the job. It's like when the company gives you a phone and you have to take it home, or a laptop and they expect you to work from home. This guy's working 24/7. So he's got his cell phone out, and he's just standing around bored. His suit is really nice, not a speck of dirt on this thing. It's made of expensive materials, stain proof. It's probably bulletproof. Your typical corpo, and he's standing around this circle waiting. You guys filter in. He doesn't seem too nervous. He's paid you, but at the same time, he does give off an air like this is not something he does very often. So he's got an air of this is just another business meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. You got the Tibetan candles. Oh, you really going all out for this one.
Scratch kind of politely tucks his phone into his suit, and he says, honestly, I just bought whatever was on the list. We did hire some consultants. As you understand, we have to keep layers of separation between these things, but I have no magical anything. I've never even, the only experience I have with this sort of thing is that my grandfather and I do get in touch, but we do it through corporate channels, so there's no ritual circles.
While
This is off the books.
I hope he called us on a burner then, because not very off the books if you're using business phone.
While Krim is setting up this seance and doing his thing, I want to call up my info broker and see if I can dig up any dirt on this guy, to see if there's anything noteworthy to know about.
Now, do you have now this guy's using an alias. Scratch clearly is an alias. Do you have any way to get like his real name? You could try to hack his personal stuff. It does look to be corporate grade.
and that would not be something that I would be doing.
So if you can find some identifying, you could try to steal his wallet.
I mean, if you want someone to steal shit, I'm your man.
I don't think he wants arms as big as these going anywhere near him right now.
I've
So
got
I
nimble hands.
have to assume at least one of us has some sort of optical cyberware. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not cyberware,
I think
but
most of us do.
contacts.
Take a picture.
Run facial
Oh
recognition.
yeah, that's true. Good point.
I have vision magnification.
Doesn't Nova have a bunch of cyberware?
Yeah.
It comes to the shaman to point this out.
Let me see what Nova has.
I've got.
So really, why I'm asking is who wants to make the roll to see how much dirt they can get on this guy?
Apparently none. That suit looks like it repels everything.
Yeah, I don't think I got much.
I'm not
Big
gonna
circle
bother.
made of gold flake. Damn.
These ingredients were quite expensive.
Yeah, I don't have any. I don't really have any non-sound based cyberware.
Well, so
Voice
maybe-
recognition.
so what I need is a volunteer to roll. I'm not too worried about the technicalities. If you want to roll to maybe listen in on what he was doing on his phone.
I'll do that.
I mean, I have insane perception. I went all out in perception.
Okay.
But wait, but my perception is only a pool of 5. But that's because all my adapt powers are increasing it. My actual pool is 1.
My perception pool is also 5.
That's not very good for perception.
I mean, it's because I didn't invest into what's perception, intelligence. I
Did.
went into body shit.
I may be dumb, but they won't see me.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I'm gonna try to hide, like, find the nice cubby to hide myself in, so that if we get ambushed by anyone, I can ambush them back.
Yeah, so Zero, you scope the joint, and you're very stealthy about it. You basically fade into the background. This building seems to have been some sort of manufacturing warehouse at some point. You can see bolts sticking out of the floor. Some of them are bent, so it's pretty typical that industrial zones come and go. They breathe. And so it could have been anything. A gang could have rolled through, a virus, the economy could have tanked, business got bought up and doors shuttered. So as far as, is this place has been set up? Has it been touched by anyone else? You're able to scope it out. It looks like just any other abandoned warehouse. You don't find any stray footsteps, any weird markings.
I'm also gonna climb onto the roof, Spider-Man style, just sticking to the wall and climbing, to get a vantage point.
Yeah, it's Seattle, so it's raining
Mhm.
every day. Just always assume Shadowrun it's raining.
Yeah, I'm wearing a raincoat.
Yeah, but you're trying to stick to a wall.
Well, yeah, but that's my adapt powers. They let me stick to the wall using magic. It's called hang time.
I mean, if
Yes.
you guys have got this, I can go up there and watch with him.
Oh.
I think I probably have longer range than he does.
Yeah, so I get +1
Okay,
dice
Mr.
pool
Scratch.
for
This
all
grab
time.
butter use. He got the name, so we can give him a call.
Yes, do you need his name to contact him? I'm not sure how all of this works.
Well,
He
there
seems
there
like
be
he-
2 ways. If he has a name he was called by just all the time, or his birth name, or blood of you, and then I just need to know if he is your maternal or paternal grandfather.
Scratch says, I guess I don't want to. I'm new to this sort of thing. I don't want to compromise my grandfather's security, his own privacy. He may be dead, but he's still, has his dignity. When I contact him at the corporate headquarters, I always just prick my finger So I'm not sure if you can use my blood somehow to contact him.
Yeah, that. But then I just need to know for the incantation if it's your maternal or paternal grandfather.
I believe fraternal. I'm not an expert in genealogy.
You don't have
Was
to
he
be an
your
expert in
mother
genealogy.
daddy or your father daddy?
So they have different last names. So that would be his mother's father.
Yes.
Maternal.
Yes.
Yes.
Unless Shadowrun does it differently.
Right. Yeah, the culture,
Okay.
roll for culture. So he does offer. He says, he does offer to allow you to prick his finger. As a druid that you can definitely try to use this ritual circle to contact any of his blood relatives. The contacting a living blood relative won't work with this circle. So it's pretty clear, you're looking for his maternal great grandfather, who is a spirit, which Scratch has given you.
In before the grandfather is actually alive, and this doesn't work.
So it was great grandfather. Okay.
Great grandfather. Now Scratch did say that he has regular contact with the ghost of his great grandfather.
So the channel should be open. Decent enough. It should work.
So Scratch has basically communicated that when he reaches out to his great grandfather, it's through corporate channels, meaning that it's monitored. The reason why he brought you out to this warehouse is so that it wasn't monitored, because this is supposed to be off the books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the private phone call.
So he holds out his hand. You can see manicured nails, soft hands, classic corpo. Do you prick his finger, or do you just let him give you the drop?
I hold out a small thimble. It's just have him do it.
So when you hold out your troll hand with this little thimble, you can see he's just a typical middle-aged human man. He seems kind of disgusted, like there's just a twinge of disgust on his face, which is typical for Krim, especially dealing with humans, because he's a metahuman. But Scratch,
and the stench.
And the stench, right? And he's kind of gross. So Scratch reaches out his finger, and he's got in his pocket, he's got like a letter opener, and he just gives a little prick, and you can see he whinges, even though it's just a little touch on his finger. He's a corpo, and puts a little drop of blood into that thimble for you, and Krim begins to perform the ritual. Now their circle's already here for you, so all you really need to do is channel magic and have the idea of this person's maternal great grandfather. But what does Krim add to this ritual? Like, what's that look like?
So, in the center of the ritual, he uses that bit of the blood to just paint the glyphs for the maternal great grandfather, and he slips the he puts that thimble back in his pocket after he's done. It still has a bit of the dude's blood, so it's always good for you, Slater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you never know. Does Krim have like a druidic focus?
Yes. Where did I put that?
You can get creative with it. It doesn't have to be. I don't need the rating of it. I just want to know how creepy it is.
Oh, it's creepy. It is the head of his first enemy shrunken down to about the size of his fist. Now, mind you, he's a troll, so that it's still fairly big.
So he's a voodoo druid?
Sort of.
I love it. That's great. Does he use does he pull out the shrunken head?
Oh, yeah. He talks to it, too.
Fuck yeah. Does the head talk back? That's the real question.
Oh, yeah, that's where the grandfather's voice is going to be coming out.
Oh, that's perfect. That's beautiful. All right,
Hey, man, we're ringing up this man's great grandfather. I need you to connect. Ring, 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 ring.
The head is just like ring. So you start dialing this guy's number. Do you need Does anybody else participate in this ritual? I know that, so there's really no other magic users, but do you guys want
mean,
to
I
try
have
and help?
magic.
It uses magic, but it's
I'm keeping a
like,
lookout for threats.
inside.
So you guys are casing the joint while this creepy druid performs the ghost ritual.
Yeah, I'll keep a look. I have magic, but I'm keeping a lookup on the roof. Sniper trained, looking down the aisles.
What's Nova doing? Playing on her phone?
Thinking about how to make this into a music video.
Is she now? Now here's the thing: like, is Nova one of those pop idols who like records or runs? I think we covered that in one of the sessions.
Yeah.
So everything like your programming is automatically filtered to blur out faces, and for Scratch, this guy just shows up as like a big mascot. He's like wearing a teddy bear outfit or some shit. So like it's fully automatically edited, completely censored, right?
Oh yeah, no, everything's automatic. Everything's cut up and like swapped around and like used to make music videos.
Yeah. Well, even some of the audio, right? So
Yeah.
like the things that Scratch is saying comes out as like the Peanuts, the adults, the wah 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 wah. And so you've got a social media following. You're also a pop star, and so this is content. So I imagine Nova's. Does she have like a? Is it just her eyes or her cyberware that she records with? Does she have a cell phone that she's like holding up, taking selfies?
Oh, it's definitely her cell phone.
Yeah, she's like, check this out, chat. We're about to summon a ghost.
First, take a selfie.
God.
So Krim starts to perform this ritual. You guys are casing the building. Like I said, so far so good. No hint of movement. You have a bunch of vehicles parked out front. Like you're covering all angles, and it seems quiet. Krim, you start to perform this ritual. You reach out to this person through the astral plane, and through this ritual, you have had to basically send a one-way phone call, expecting to get an answer. When you get that answer, you do get some information about this spirit. His name is Merlin, and he has requested to enter into the zone.
Okay. Is that something that needs an immediate response, or can I ask a question?
You can ask a question like, this is your security, right? So what if Merlin's not the guy? But when you send out, like you sent out the number, and it is the right number, you're assuming that the guy who answered is replying to the number you sent out.
Okay, so I just look over at Scratch. We contacted Merlin. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. They used to call
Okay.
him Merlin when in life. Yes, it's a silly little nickname.
Oh, good nickname. Okay, that scared me for a moment there, and then I just connect the call.
Yeah. So when you take these astral lines, you bring them together in your mind and connect them. The summoning circle begins to kind of vibrate and quiver and blink a little bit, and the candles start to quiver and everybody in the room, which most of you aren't, you're outside the building, you get a cold rush down your spine as this spirit enters into the room. And it begins to manifest. The candles in the center begin to kind of have a black flame to them and let off this smoke.
Oh.
And this smoke manifests into the image of a face, and you are holding out your shrunken head, Krim, and the smoke begins to swirl around and cover this shrunken head in the shape of what you might describe as an older gentleman in his 70s, 80s. And the spirit kind of sucks in a deep breath, and it's it's smoke and it's a spirit, so it's not actually breathing, but it's the shock of entering into a ritual circle. It says, "Oh my! Oh, what a this is definitely not as clean of a channel as we get in the corporate office, is it, son?" And Scratch seems kind of like amused. He's kind of wide-eyed, kind of blinking as if he didn't expect this to work. And he says, "Yeah, grandfather, we're as you requested. We have the ritual here. We have a crew ready to run whatever you need of them. The payment's been processed." And the smoke around the shrunken head says, "Oh, good, my boy. Oh, you did very well in arranging all of this. But what is that? I smell something. I haven't smelled anything in maybe 50 years since I was alive." Do you are you looking at the head?
Yeah, it's like, hey man, it's just the fancy shit he got for the ritual. It really took it up a notch.
Interesting. Yes, it's almost like I haven't had a sensation in so long. I forgot what it felt like to smell something. Anyway, you're the professionals that my great grandson hired. That's correct. I have a mission of grave, dire importance for you.
You want to get some strange in the afterlife?
I don't know what that means, son, but please listen to my tale quickly. I'm on an errand for my employer, and they're who this mission is about, but I can't tally, or else they'll find out that I'm missing. I'm not supposed to be talking to people unmonitored like this, but my employer, Ebony Scrooge, she's monopoly. She has a monopoly of many of the gift shops in the Sprawl area, and her subsidiary has bought up all of these small mom and pop stores, even some of the big chain stores, brought them under one envelope. I've overheard recently that her and her company have decided to hike up the prices right before the holiday season, and many of the children of the Sprawl won't be getting gifts because they won't be able to afford it. It's hard to make ends meet as it is.
How devious.
I've contacted you to please reach out to Miss Scrooge and let her know that she's going to cause a lot of suffering in the Sprawl, and a lot of poor children and families like my own. And the smoke kind of rotates towards Scratch. I help provide with my salary to my great grandchildren, and that money's not going to go as far as it should, and I think that my great grandchildren will suffer. And Scratch seems kind of uncomfortable. He's a salary man. He's in a fancy suit, and so it seems like he's not really struggling. But his great grandfather Merlin is implying that families like his will suffer this holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would love to meet you in person, but you see, my phylactery is carried by Mrs. Scrooge, and she keeps it as it's an earring in her powder room, and so the way I'm able to escape and reach out to others is very limited. You see, that's why I had this summoning circle made. She resides on a high-end luxury barge. You may be familiar with it. It's called the Puget Pearl. It's anchored in the Puget Sound off the coast here in Seattle, and it's the high security, very modern. It's only been in operation for a few years, recently built. Some people are calling it the bubble of excess. It's a large barge dome. It's a floating dome. The only ins and outs are through the loading dock, high security, scan tunnels, cameras, turrets, things like that. It's also got magical shielding. It's reinforced from the outside. It can survive a bomb, for example.
Mm-hmm.
How big of a bomb?
Well, they say that it's nuke-proof, but I wouldn't know.
Tom, we need this thing, yes, Nova?
I can give you as much information as I can, but again, I have only so much time. There are 8 residential units inside of the Puget Pearl. Again, high security, but the majority of the security is at the loading dock. So the only way in and out is through water vehicle or air vehicle into and out of this dock. But then once you get inside, past that security checkpoint, there should be pretty limited security inside. Again, once it's very secure, there's no need for advanced security inside. My employer, Ebony, has her own fleet of security bots at her personal villa, which I'm sure you are equipped to address. She also employs the use of a bodyguard who is a mystical adept. Her name is the Timber Wolf. She's quite the reputation. I'm sure you'll be able to find more information about her, but she can be quite formidable. And she has with her a roaming spirit, a wolf spirit, that patrols the premises. Now, you're the professionals, but I need you to get access to Mrs. Grushin and convince her that she's going to be harming the entire sprawl this holiday season unless she changes her greedy ways.
I see.
All right.
So what you telling me is you need a Christmas miracle.
Indeed, for somebody to penetrate the defenses of the Puget Pearl is going to be quite the monumental task. But I believe that once she has seen that she's not...
man, that part sounds easy. It's the convincing a corporal that they're being too greedy that might be the hard part.
Well, I see your point there, but I hope that once she understands that she's not untouchable in her safe haven, she'll come to terms. Now, what the terms, how you achieve those terms specifically, are up to you. You're the experts, but I would prefer that if you didn't kill her, the person who takes over might be even harder to convince, might be harder to access. She is my employer, after all. I am bound to her.
Might also be easier. You know?
Now, I do have limited ability to roam inside of the Pearl, and I will try to aid you as much as I can. But again, I'm being tracked, and so I only have so much resources at my disposal. I'm just a spirit.
I mean, we could kill her, then when the next guy comes in, we could threaten to kill him, and then because he would be afraid that we would succeed in killing him because we infiltrated the place.
You're on the
twice.
roof. We can't hear you. Shut up.
That's what I was gonna say. We're those of us outside. Do we hear what's going on?
Yeah. So Nova has audio links. So here's the thing: like Nova is your decker, and what that means is that she has oversight over your private network, which all of your guns, your comm links, everything is connected to. So if you guys get hacked, it will be your private network, and it'll be Nova's job to defend it.
It'll be all her fault if we get. I mean, never mind.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
No, in terms of getting there, you said something about a boat. I got a hovercraft we can use to get over the water.
So I imagine you just have like your phone on speaker or whatever, right? So you've got the comms here. Merlin says, yes, no, that's an important point. The dock is the only means of exit and entry legally, anyway. And so you cannot simply drive a vehicle across a bridge to the Puget Sound across the water. It's anchored. It's only accessible by water or air. Now, I am aware, and I'm not an engineer, mind you. I'm simply a previous shop owner, but there must be some sort of utilities. They must have power and sewer and water and ventilation and things like that. It's a very complicated machine, this massive barge. So hopefully you may have some creative way to get in and out if you need to bypass the docks. But if you can perhaps bribe somebody to send you an invite, it is VIP only for the guests that get into and out of the Puget Pearl. If you can forge residency documents as a resident, again, I'm not a criminal, so I'm not a professional in these.
I might know a guy.
Come on. I don't think any of them would buy me being a resident for a second.
I mean, I might know a guy. My backstory is that I worked for a lot of corporations for doing assassinations for them. So probably know a guy who knows a guy who works there who can get us an invite.
Now, I imagine.
Or we can get Nova to book a showing there, and we can be her backup dancers.
We can be her bodyguards.
So now that you guys understand the mission. He wants you to infiltrate the Puget Pearl, which is a massive domed barge. It's a VIP luxury residential barge. So it's a high security hideaway for corpos and rich people. You can just type that into the Matrix and start pulling up information. And so
maybe Mithrali,
Yeah.
Nova can go in, can go and ask a realtor, like a realting agency, and have them scout out a house that might be available on that barge property.
Pretty sure we
Nova
can
could-
that up.
Showing.
Nova could probably just get in.
that's
Like I said,
It's like,
I got a hovercraft.
I
You
don't
can
even
go
need
from
to
the
roll,
water.
bro. I
It's
just
like-
get in.
It's like Taylor Swift just fucking said, "Hey, can I come on your barge?"
Yeah, pretty
Oh.
much.
That's a giant mechanical zit if I ever saw one.
Yeah.
Now, so what's funny about Shadowrun is most of the setting is in Seattle, Washington, but it doesn't have to be. It's literally Earth 2075, so you could play in Australia if you want. I live in the Seattle area, and so if you've never been to the Seattle area, there is the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma, Washington, and it's a big fucking arena that looks like a dome. And so we call it, like, every time we drive past it, it's like the big titty. It's got like a nipple on top, right? The Tacoma titty. And so the Puget Pearl, as you guys begin to look into it, you're able to pull some real easy information off the internet. Puget Pearl was commissioned about 20 years ago. It took about 15 years to engineer, get all the permits, everything, and then construction started about 5 years ago. It is a tourist attraction from the outside. It is an engineering marvel, right? So this barge, on top of the barge floats this dome, and the dome is highly reinforced against both magic and explosions and things like that. So it's completely inaccessible from
Did
this
I just
dome.
hear a tourist attraction?
Yeah, so people they'll drive by on the highway and see this floating booby out in the water, right? And that's really it. You might be
They're
able
not
to
allowed
take...
approach?
What's that?
No travel agencies offering a tour guide of the place?
No, this is very VIP private on the inside, right?
Okay, but
so really all you could
can they
do...
get us a boat on the outside?
Yes, so they do tourism outside of the barge. So you could rent a tour, or when you're taking the ferry back and forth. Air traffic in the Seattle area is highly regulated. So even if you have a flying car, you have to have all the permits. It's expensive. It takes time. Of course, the corpos have people for that, so they can
Yes.
fly wherever the fuck they want. So if you wanted to fly around this, you would have to get permits, do all that stuff. And if any of that fell through, you're talking about military response, like immediate military response. So they do boat tours. They're only allowed to get within a certain distance of the Pearl, and it's only during certain times of day, things like that. So if you wanted to take your hovercraft, for example, and get up close to this thing, you would have to, like, when you got within a certain distance of this thing, you would be hailed, and they would need to see your identification, all that sort of thing. It is a high security thing, but you can definitely scope it out from a distance. So this thing, this barge, anchored to the bottom of the Puget Sound, it is it's stationary. It just floats. So as the weather comes and goes, it's stabilized by this like massive cable and chain that connects it to the bottom. What else? It does have the dock. So that's the port of entry. If you scope this thing out, you can see there are flying cars, high-end luxury flying cars that come and go rarely. There's not a whole lot of traffic. It's mostly supplies. And so they're pulling in art, they're pulling in expensive collections, they're pulling in spare parts for the barge itself. A lot of it kind of goes under the radar, and so as you dig deeper sort of on the dark website, you start asking some of your hacker buddies. They say, yeah, they're pretty sure that there's like money laundering going on. Like some of these corpos in here are probably using this barge to fly under the radar with some of their criminal activity.
Oh, absolutely.
Can I call my fixer to see if he can get me like schematics of the building and stuff like that?
So, do you have the fixer on your sheet?
Yes. His
What's
name is
your
Lance.
what's your
he-
rating?
I don't know, connection 1 and loyalty 1. I didn't really put
So-
much
it would be
thought.
your highest of the two, so 1.
So your connection with your contact is pretty much how far are they willing to stick their neck out for you.
Mhm.
So with a 1-1, this guy will pick up the phone, but he might not do you any favors. It depends.
I can try mine.
If I offer him money, like 10k,
So you ring up this guy. His name's Lance, right? And he's a fixer. Do you have any other profile information for him?
well, for starters, he's human, he's male, he's kind of young. He basically used to give me Shadowrunner jobs, like connect me with rich clientele. His personal life is none of my damn business,
Hmm.
and the type is networking. So he was basically connecting me with all the corporations and stuff.
So what I'll do is I'll roll to see how much he likes you, and we'll go
Mhm.
from there.
Backstory-wise, I used to be well-known assassin for these corpos and stuff. So
Yeah, so-
I was doing a good job for that.
And
So
he's only
this
a
is a-
1-1? Wow.
Yeah, this is
Well, I didn't even invest into the connections and stuff. I just kind of went connection. There we go.
So this guy, I mean, he's done jobs for you. You're not his favorite person. You're just one of his clients, and the relationship you understand, especially after making this phone call, is that like you're one of many of his goons, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so you call him up. You say, "Hey, I'm looking for information on the Puget Pearl, like schematics. Do you know a guy who can get me in?" And he says, "What's it worth to you?"
I'll give you 10k.
He says, "You want to give me 10k new yen to get you schematics of one of the most highly secured VIP luxury corpo facilities in the area? This thing, I swear, this thing's like one step below the fucking Azteca pyramid."
Yes, so I'm not looking for the schematics of the actual like internals of the building. I'm looking for schematics for entrance, like sewers, for any outside entrances, like air vents, different smaller ports, maybe like underwater holes that are just too small for normal people to fit, but maybe I could.
So the guy laughs at you. He says, "You offer me 100k. You got 100k scratch, kid?"
Let's see. No.
Hmm.
We have all together. All 5 of us have 100k. So
You're metaphorically searching through your pockets. So he hears you hesitate. He says, "Listen, kid, for 10k, I can tell you to rent a submarine and stop wasting my time. I got nothing for you at that price. I wish you the best. I ain't gonna stick my neck out and have you get caught snooping around some corpo's villa."
okay then.
I could try
click.
one of mine.
So this
Is
guy,
there-
like, he's not mad at you, so your reputation doesn't go down, but it doesn't go up. It doesn't go up, and he doesn't have anything to offer you. Now, if you had offered him the money, right, that would just. So that's the thing is, you can leverage your money and your contacts for things. Don't think that what's on your character sheet is all you've got access to.
Mhm.
But this guy doesn't know you well enough, and he thinks you're an idiot for doing such a dangerous job.
Guys, I think we're idiots. Oh,
So
yeah,
that's
I don't
another.
think he's wrong.
What you get from the conversation is that this is not going to be an easy job, and you guys, you've got a few missions under your belt, right? This is big. The amount that Scratch is offering you, similarly, it's kind of a spit in the face.
Yeah.
But you do know, as Shadowrunners, that if you get into this place, everything you touch is gold.
once I get in, I'm hitting every house on our way. I'm getting all the info I can from each fucking corpo scum living there. We're going to all of their safes and taking all their nuyen.
I'm gonna steal all their cars. We're gonna fuck
So-
them
I'm
bitches.
going to take the fancy steaks.
So Dante
The
has a hovercraft,
wagyu.
right?
Yeah, I got the hovercraft.
Do you want to use that? Do you want to scope it out?
Yeah,
But
I
don't
could
think
scout
about
it.
don't think about time. This is mission prep. You guys are Ocean's 11 scoping the place.
Mm-hmm.
So Dante, you take out the hovercraft. Did you get a permit to be out there, or do you just go risk it?
What? I want to say risk it for the biscuit.
I mean, I'm
so
gonna-
so you go out.
Mhm.
So far, your expense is $0, right? So you go out on your hovercraft as a personal recreational vehicle. We're going to say that's all the permission that you have, is that you own this thing as a recreational vehicle. And so you are taking it out on the Puget Sound. It's a high traffic area, right off the Seattle airport. It's all right there, skyscrapers in the background. Do you push the envelope, or do you stay a pretty safe distance?
I would probably say a good safe distance away.
Yeah,
you know.
you don't want to be hailed by this. So luckily, you were warned that they do hail traffic in the area. What you can see of the barge is that there are some exposed HVAC, maybe water sewer piping around sort of the lower portion of the dome. And then the barge itself is essentially just a high-end barge, something that they would use to imagine like a floating plate where they would load on storage containers is what a barge is. And so this barge is just a high-end floating platform that has had this dome constructed on top of it. That means that the barge has systems for its own maintenance. It probably has some residential for the staff. It probably has intake piping like Zero was talking about. So intake for water sewer, discharge for water sewer. From your hover boat, you can assume that underneath the barge is where a lot of the components are. Because you don't get too close, I can't give you like a whole lot more information.
Could I have joined with my binoculars and my my low light contacts so I could see in?
Well, I have binoculars, and my alpha ability is I could see in low light.
Okay, so we can both just do that.
If you want to come along,
see further.
bring
Yeah.
a fishing pole, all right? We gotta make it. We gotta make it look like we're actually out here, doing recreation.
Do you want to rent either a submarine or a drone?
Yeah, I wanted to do that. Yeah.
How much are you willing to put forth?
A submarine? Hey, look, I'm willing to put all of my 20k.
20k into a submarine?
I got about $10. No.
Yeah, but it has to be like a submarine that is hard to detect. Like I want it to be a stealth craft.
For
Yeah, it's been a lot.
20k, for 20k, you're gonna get like a recreational vehicle.
To rent?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Just so, like, if you wanted to buy a submarine that had some sort of like stealth or whatever, you're talking like 200k. And this is why, like, you have 2 weeks between sessions, right? You're free to get on Chummer and shop around and take a look. But for 20k, I would say you can rent like a recreational diving craft where it's basically just a 2-seater with a bubble view, no fancy frills.
Okay, then can I just get a boat that's stealth capable?
That's the thing. Stealth capable.
Yeah, I just did something that isn't gonna be detected right away, so I can get a bit closer.
Look, for 20k, your stealth capable boat is gonna be painted black.
Yeah, exactly. So what we'll do, and here's the thing, like, you guys can expect to make a lot more money than Scratch is offering you from this mission. So just assume that. So we'll put 20k on your expenses and say that you rent a recreational submarine craft. And you are able to get within the radius of the bubble without being hailed You do because you rented this craft and you get in under the water. You see that there is a patrolling submarine that patrols the bottom of the barge. And that's what you get for 20K.
Okay.
Is
So
there
you
any way
know-
to check like municipal records to see like sewer lines, power lines, everything that runs in that part of the city? Not exactly to that, but like around there.
Yeah. So Nova will dig into some of the dark web documents. Now, I'm just going to assume you're going to do that, Nova. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But if you would like to do that, we can roll to see how much information you can get off the web.
Well, I do technically have access to a submarine.
Do you?
It's just I would.
Is this the same
I
way
would
that
need
the
company clear.
village
It's the
people
same.
had access to a cruiser?
It's the same way that the company limo has a submarine propulsion system.
You have like
does?
a tour submarine?
I have a
Instead
tour
of
limo.
bus? Dude, I would love to go on a tour submarine.
Well, shit. Then we don't have to spend 20K.
I just have to get authorization for it.
So-
You'll get
so-
authorization.
However, what I want you guys to think of, because this is the Ocean's 11 style, you're just scoping the place out, you're doing mission prep. I would like each character to have a chance to do something funny and creative. Whatever you guys think of, whatever. And so I'm just spitballing ideas. You're free to do whatever you'd like. If you want to use your hacking strengths to search on the dark web, that's fine. If you'd like to rent this, get rid of that expense by putting out the your feelers for your corporation, that's fine. But I'd just like everybody to have like one chance. And so if you're going to do this submarine thing, then that might double up.
Yeah.
But you did find. So here's the thing: you went out on your boat. You found that if you were able to climb or airdrop or whatever, get onto the exterior of this bubble, that you might be able to like blow open a pipe and climb in or something.
Actually, I have this pretty nifty thing called flexibility. It's an adept power that lets me bend and twist my body past the metahuman norm, and it allows me to squeeze through openings smaller than me. And I can escape restraints easier and stuff.
Yeah,
like
what
I
about the
mean-
rest of us?
that. Well, I
I
can
mean,
open the pack for the rest of you.
I mean, sure, but cats may be liquid, but they still have volume.
Yeah. But if it's a small area like a vent, right? I can get.
I mean, if we're
through
talking
it,
about getting up to
open
the
door.
roof, I have climbing claws that I could climb up. I have a chameleon suit that makes me look, blend in, and I got
Hang
explosive
time,
gel.
hang time to help me climb as well.
I mean, my bike's got gecko tips. My eye doll has gecko tips.
Mm,
I've got a rock.
So what about so Krim, you're still talking to, this is all happening at the same time, it will say, right? You still are you still have Merlin's spirit, and he does have limited time, but you could ask him some questions because he has admitted that he basically lives inside this dome with his employer. And so he has some information, some access to the interior.
Okay, well, hey man, do you know of any active sport that you can open up that would let us in? Like, easy peasy.
Oh, well, every time I try to roam the facilities, I'm kept on a tight leash. You see, I'm not allowed to come and go freely. I'm an employee, and so my work is dictated by my employer. But I have had some interaction with the interior. They do. It's quite luxurious. They're. It seems like whatever systems are running are top notch, high end. But I have noticed that the only real security inside of the interior of the dome is the robots that Madame Krush has employed. Scrooge has employed for her personal estate. The rest of the tenants of the dome are automated delivery bots and groundskeeping drones, things like that. And so once you get past the security of the dock, you shouldn't have too much issue locating Madame Scrooge's residence, and the only security at that point would be her personal security. That might give you an advantage. Now, you are a person of magic, and so I do need to stress to you that there is a wolf spirit roaming the premises, and that her bodyguard is a
That was a
powerful
hot pan that I was trying to keep
mystical
from
adept.
burning. Okay, but
Hmm?
sorry, I'm talking to my nephew.
I thought that was a voice clip. I thought that.
I went to put a hot pan into the sink, and he backed up directly in front of the sink.
You know,
Because
we
you
make-
don't move when somebody's moving with a hot pan, dude, okay?
yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
burn you. Sorry, guys.
So you're okay.
I was thinking maybe can we look at for jobs maybe in the dome, like housekeeping or maybe like bodyguard or IT system
So,
maintenance?
so what Merlin has given you so far is that all of the staff out inside of the dome are
Mostly
automated.
robots. Yeah, but someone has to keep this automated robots,
That's
up to
right.
snuff.
That's right. So
More robot.
Merlin says, "Well, the staff. I've only been through the docks a couple of times, but the staff there seem to be all living, organic, as you might say, and so they seem to take good care of the mechanical and all the logistical there. But after the security checkpoint, the only living guests that are allowed through must be approved on the VIP list."
So what I'm hearing is there are multiple layers of security. First, we have to get onto the place. Then we have to get through this checkpoint, and then we have to avoid all the inside security.
But then once you
Mark,
get
can you-
inside, it's not as big of a deal. I'm sure you can handle it.
Yeah,
Can you order a
So the
pizza
real
for the
question here
Scrooge?
is, could Merlin here get us on the VIP list?
That would be very challenging for me to do, but I can maybe able to pull some strings if you can get me some. Scratch, who's there, he says, "Listen, let me know what you need. I can try to pull some strings as well, but this all needs to be very hush hush. So there are limits to what we can do. I may be able to try and find you a benefactor to get you in. I can try to pull some more funds together.
so this Scrooge, she must have some enemies within the dome. Who would be most likely to be like, I don't like her, I want her to be threatened?
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I may be able to try to dig up some potential rivalries within the dome. These corpos, they do get quite catty with each other.
Yeah. So tell us who, and then we might be able to get them on our side.
Hey, would you answer the door for a stripogram?
There, Merlin says, I have had my benefactor, my employer. She has had some guests into and out of the dome, and she seems to be quite the socialite, like most CEOs. Has to network, things like that, and the Puget Pearl is quite the what would you say, the showpiece. If you have residency here, it's bragging rights, and so people do come and go as VIP guests.
She wouldn't happen to be into old trolls, would she?
Wouldn't have to be a fan of mine, would she?
My employer, I guess I could give you some more information about Mrs. Scrooge. My employer is an elf. She's, let's say she lived longer than I did, that's for sure. And she has had quite a bit of success as a subsidiary of one of the local mega corporations. Like I said, she's bought up many of the local gift stores, and because of that, she's threatening to inflate prices. So, very wealthy. Of course, she has a reputation They now I don't know if you should repeat this to her in person, and I might get in trouble for letting it out of the bag. But they used to call her old bone screws.
Do you know if she has any weaknesses? Like maybe some secrets she might want to keep away from her rivals? Because maybe we can arrange a meeting with her rival, saying that we have information they might be interested in, and we have to meet in person for us to give it to them.
Well, I
And
do know
that's
some
the
of
way
the.
in.
I used to be an employee, owner of one of the small gift shops that she purchased, and through that purchase, I was given the opportunity to provide for my family, my great-grandchildren in death. So I signed a spirit contract and continue to work for her to this day. I do know other business owners like myself who were less pleased with the purchase of their business. Maybe I can reach out to them. They may harbor some ill will towards Madame Scrooge.
No, but I'm talking like secrets. That
But
we could
anybody
use.
inside the dome?
I will have to do some searching for you on that, but I'll get back to you.
But Nova, in the meantime, could you please also look for different shops, like not shops, but different companies, you know, like supermarkets and stuff, who do deliveries to the dome. Maybe we can get on their delivery, like delivery guy list. We can get hired.
I telling
So-
you, we just do a stripogram, pretend to do pizza. Send me in. I am irresistible.
They have a pizza maker. They have a Domino's inside the barge.
Yeah, but the Domino's needs someone to bring them the dough and the eggs and stuff, right? And
So
the
so that's
sauce.
a good point. They do bring in food. So food, medical supplies, things like that all have to come and go through
So
the
we can
docks.
contact. Maybe we can get hired by Walmart or a future version of Walmart and get on
Yeah,
their
yeah.
delivery crew list.
Walmart's probably one of those mega corporations that owns half the world.
Yeah, Amazon Mart is the merger for the megacorp. Jeff Bezos is still alive. He's a head in a jar.
The problem with Amazon Mart is they would do everything with drones.
That's true. It's completely automated. They don't want to pay some scumbag. So I did roll for Merlin to see if he could get any of that hot gossip. He rolled a massive 6 hits. He says that he was able to do some snooping. There, like he said, there are 8 residential units inside of the dome. After he did some searching, he found that one of the residencies is vacant, and it is for rent on Airbnb. It is it is extremely expensive. It's going to cost you about $250K for one night.
You'd rather get a loan. Put your car as collateral.
That's exactly it. So you could rent out one of these estates for one night, $250K. He also mentioned that one of Ebony's neighbors feels like her security robots are kind of ruining the vibe. And so Merlin reached out to this neighbor and mentioned that there may be a way to convince the security chief of the Puget Pearl that Ebony's security is unnecessary, that she needs to dwindle the forces a little bit. And so Merlin has convinced this neighbor to send in a formal complaint to the security chief.
Yes, the Karens are on our side.
The HOA is forming.
So what I'm going to do, because of that role, is give the team a ticket. You have a Merlin ticket, and if you don't have any fun, cool, creative ideas, then you can use the Merlin ticket, and Merlin will get you
In.
at least halfway in.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. We got there.
Now Merlin says, "No, I really have to get back, or else they'll suspect. Is there any final questions that I can answer for you?"
How big is this Airbnb?
I can tell you that that Madame Scrooge's estate has 2 floors to it. It's quite luxurious. It has all the amenities. It can entertain up to 50 guests. And so it's quite luxurious. All the estates are of a similar quality, catering only to the richest.
Let's crowdfund this thing. Have big party.
Yeah. Let's have DJ
My-
on the scene.
I had a couple questions.
Please make them quick.
Anyone happen to be a fan of fundraisers?
Yeah, the crowdsourcing.
I was going to say, why
funny,
don't you
bro.
talk to your music company and see if you can't do a music video in there?
No.
Oh, I was thinking doing a private fundraising concert.
Yeah.
Yes,
No,
a crowdsourcing fun party.
Hack a fake.
Why no one listen to the troll?
A fake what's it called? A fake company that does good and stuff, right? And then she starts this concert donating to this fake company, and then all the money that they give us goes back into our pockets.
No, I was talking about doing a concert in the Pearl.
Yeah, but if it's a fundraiser,
Yeah, in that private residence.
If it's a fundraising
that Airbnb.
concert, you can siphon all their money.
Look, we do the concert in the Airbnb
Mm-hmm.
for a select amount of people. And we invite some of the most raucous, rowdy fucking people there, so that the party kind of like devolves into like a mosh pit. We slip out the back and we go do what we need to do, and then come back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're gonna allow or appreciate us inviting 100 people into the dome just for a party.
Now,
100, he said a few
Now
select.
here's the thing: like if you can rent out this villa, the amount of guests you can get through the doors is only limited by how you can convince the chief security officer is an allowable amount, right? So what I would recommend, if you would like to go through the concert route, because that's a great route, is that you at least get your crew on the VIP list, and then maybe like 10 other socialites. That's a good point of like, if you can utilize Nova's celebrity, these guys, you might be able to charge like 20 grand a ticket, right? So you say, hey, Nova's doing a private concert, and so what we'll do is we'll make a roll to see like how many people are willing to pay in. And then think about it, how if you can get a bunch of people through security, you might be able to get in more equipment. You might be able to get in some distractions, some more eyes. You might be able to get a couple like or higher mercs through, but they will have to pay to get in, right? And then, if your concert gets too rowdy, right, the security chief might get notified and then come and try to respond. But it sounds like security inside the dome is pretty thin, and they like it that way.
And it's gonna be even thinner now, or thinner with the complaint.
I mean, this place is pretty stacked, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be easy to like, go talk to a bunch of other Shadowrunners and see if anybody wants to help pitch in, and they could just get their own cut?
They can just go and ransack the houses. The
Exactly.
Here's the thing, like, this is why I just kind of leave this part open. I think it's super funny to crowdsource on the black web. Hey, a bunch of Shadowrunners, do you want to not only go to a kick-ass concert, but also get into a very high security facility that you could then maybe hack or steal shit from and do crimes?
We have a limited capacity. We're only taking 5 other
crime
Shadowrunners.
doers, you wanna
It's
do
going
some
to be
crime?
75K a piece.
Okay.
But once you're in,
You're
that
right.
75K can easily be tripled.
But
That
your
is
exit strategy is yours to plan. That's what we say.
crowdfunding crime with other crime while also making it an MLM.
Crime funding.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like the only stipulation we have was once we're inside,
What are
If you get caught, you're on
I
you.
just want to say these
Instead of our
plans
way.
don't sound too much different than all the corpos.
So, I think, do we want to try to push forward with that plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Merlin, he's got to go. He's spent way too much time on this private chat, and like he mentioned, Ebony Scrooge has a security guard who is very formidable and will know if he's been missing. So he's got to keep it on the low. And so he cuts the ritual, and he goes back to, essentially his phylactery, and so he's back on the Pearl. You guys have no more contact with him. Scratch says, listen, I'm just a guy, like, I have a family to feed, and I can't put my neck out too far for a bunch of criminals. My great-grandfather thinks this mission is of utmost importance. I think you are all suicidal for listening to him, but I really appreciate the idea that you're trying to, keep the holidays accessible for all the rest of us. If there's some strings I can pull, I'm not a big player, but I can try to make some phone calls on your behalf.
Let's start by getting the Airbnb reservation.
We can get the minimum. We can get a discount, maybe.
I think the first thing we have to do is get a reservation before we start planning the party, because if the person renting the Airbnb or the security finds out, there could be like, no, we're not letting you.
I have never rolled in my history of Shadowrun. I have never rolled 0.
Wow.
This is my first 0 I've ever seen. So Scratch, he walks away from this meeting and leaves you guys to your planning. And he has blocked your number, Nova. He no longer wants anything to do with this criminal activity. He doesn't want it traced back to him. And of course, you're a hacker, so you could find him if you wanted to.
I could get in his phone and unblock my number.
You could unblock yourself. Just know that he's afraid of the backlash from this mission, and it's pretty clear that he really only did it because his great-grandfather requested it.
Can we?
So it was basically, if you need any help, just call me. Block.
Yeah.
He's
You
just
walk away
looking.
from a bunch of dudes in orange suits, and you're like, "Yeah, I ain't doing this shit."
He's just looking at his phone one day and realizes that there's an extra page on it, and he scrolls over to it. It is just filled with 9 new apps, and all the icons just spell out "dude." Really?
You've changed his background to a fancy photo shoot cover that Nova did. He just
He's gonna
There you
offer
go.
just
Leave an
slapping
imprint.
him in the face. Just being like, hey, why did you block us? Like at
Open his
night,
door.
pick him up, slap. Hey, why'd you block me?
Okay, so you know what? It would be super easy if we invited Miss Ebony to the concert and gave her a VIP thing where she meets the band in a back room, and then we just turn that into the fucking interrogation room.
I mean, I guess we could, yeah. But
So the question is, how famous is Nova, right? Is Nova famous enough to reach CEOs? That's the test that we're going to have to do.
Let's see.
Or if the CEO
That is a
has
good-
really low tastes.
I mean,
Whoa,
Her-
don't get
her-
mean.
her fame is listed as global.
Global fame is pretty good, right? I'm going to make a roll. It's just going to be a heads or tails to see if Ebony is a Swiftie.
before that, does Ebony have children?
It's a Swiftie.
Well,
So
that's good.
here's the thing. Ebony is the CEO of a subsidiary of a major corporation. What you got from Merlin is that she is known for being heartless, and that's why he's called this mission. They call her Bone Screws because she basically that's how heartless she is. If you go and plead for mercy, she's like a bone screw. She's gonna, have no empathy for you. She's an elf, so she's probably 100 years old. Elves have a very easy way of life because they're naturally gorgeous for their entire lifespan, like beyond human imagining. And so, like, people just drool over an elf just because they exist. That's kind of the world you live in.
Nova is
and
also an elf.
Success is very easy, just like Nova, right? Nova, part of, I would say 80% of Nova's fame is just because she's an elf. Like, all elves are famous. Success comes easy. People basically throw money at them, right? So that's where Ebony comes from. That's where Nova is. Ebony is an elf, but because she's an elf and Nova's an elf, like, even though she's a fan of Nova's stuff, there is sort of a competition between elves where it's like, who's prettier, or just because you have power and I have power doesn't mean we can be friends, right?
So this has turned into not convince this Scrooge person to come and stop doing whatever she was doing. This has now turned into how much money can we steal from all these rich people?
Okay, so
that's part of the mission for sure.
Convincing Scrooge is like the secondary objective now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we now have it easy. We could just invite her to the party.
So what we'll say is let's have a conversation between Nova and her manager.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your
Hey,
manager's
Nova,
name?
baby.
Geneva Diamond.
Geneva Diamond? Oh yeah, I
Yep.
see it right here. Sorry.
Does she
All
have
right.
a
So you
convention?
call up Geneva. How would you, like, what do you know about Geneva? What is Nova's relationship with Geneva? Is it like a lifelong thing? Is it like groomed from childhood? I mean, how did Nova get her fame?
That's a good question. I just have her written
She's an
down as
elf. She
corporate
smiled at
manager.
somebody.
That's all you got to do, man.
She probably just like took up an interest in music and just went to Digital Idol Industries and was like, "Yo,
I'm an elf," and they were like, "That's all we need." Yeah. Well, and
Why
that's
wasn't
it
I
too,
told
right?
this?
Yeah, I should have been an elf the whole time.
I am an elf.
Are you? Oh yeah. You should have just.
I'm just living in the slums.
So Nova, you were scouted by Geneva. Let's say at like it was like a talent contest in high school or some shit, right? And this we're talking about like private school, because I assume Nova comes from wealth, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so it's like a talent competition, and let's say there was a handful of elves in the whole population of the private school, because it's like all of the fancy, high-end, super rich elf families just hire private tutors, right? So you went to a high-end private school where there was only a handful of elves to compete with, and all the elves are like naturally talented at what they do, whether it's speech, whatever they're doing. So Nova had a talent for music and was scouted by Geneva Diamond at this private school talent competition. And ever since then has been groomed as this global pop star and has seen a lot of success, social media and in concerts, all that stuff. And so you call up Geneva and she says, "Nova, baby." That was great. She says, "What can I do for you, dear?"
I would like to put on a little fundraiser and maybe try to get a merchandising deal out of it as well.
You need money. I can send you money.
I need an apartment booked. I have news that there is an apartment available at the Puget Pearl.
Oh my, the goodness, the Puget Pearl. I hadn't even thought of trying to have a performance there. Is that your plan then, to have a concert?
Yeah, have a little fundraiser concert there.
Oh my, that'd be great for PR to know that one of our clients was able to get into the Puget Pearl, and there are high-end clientele there, I'm sure, who might be interested in doing sort of a group thing. I don't know if I know anybody on the Pearl. It's interesting. I'll have to reach out.
Yeah, do that, please.
So you said that there's a residence there that's available,
Yes.
and
It's
how did you?
seems to be available as an Airbnb. I was just looking around online.
It's listed publicly on a shitty site like Airbnb. I see. Yeah, so I guess I can reach out and see if the company can pull some strings and get you in there. Now, it's obviously not open to the public. It's a private. Do we know how many people you can expect to pull in there?
Let's see.
If I was you, I would just say, "Oh man, 100, easy." Just inflate it, man. So, so Geneva says, "Interesting. Yeah, I will reach out to the security chief and see what the allowed limit is. What I'm thinking is, this is a great idea, by the way, Nova, darling. You're a genius. We're going to sell tickets at a premium price." To, of course, cover the cost of the rental, but then some. We're going to have your band there is going to have to be there. We'll have some producer. We'll have some staff to take care of your needs there.
Security.
Security. We'll have to approve some security. Do you have anyone in mind?
Yeah, I have a couple people in mind.
That's good, and that's good. We'll have to get them. We'll have to push their clearance through, so you'll have to send me their details. And then, I'm thinking we'll send in a shipping container and set up a stage. I don't know, what the logistics inside the Puget Pearl are like, so I'll have to try and get some information to stage this show. So I'll see what kind of strings I can pull, and I'll get back to you.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'm excited. It's always a pleasure to hear from you.
You too.
You have to discipline him?
I have to disown him.
Oh, disown him? I'm going to beat him
He
with a
came up
hot
to me.
pan.
Nah, he came up to me and said, "I hate anime."
Wow.
Wow.
Tell him you wrote him out of the will.
Yeah.
Did you say Christmas is coming? That's what you should have said. Get him a body pillow.
Okay, he's 10.
You can get some PG.
It can be classy, a PG body pillow.
His mother would kill me.
I mean, you can just do like an anime character that's not that
handsome
revealing.
Squidward.
Yeah.
Squidward.
SpongeBob.
Just get a
convince him
Neurosama
that-
body pillow.
Convince him that Fortnite's an anime.
It's got anime in it.
Should do. What's her name? Shigo from the Twan cartoon.
Impossible.
One
Impossible.
cartoon.
I honestly, I don't know what I would do if I was playing with a crew of like Gen Zs who didn't know what Kim Possible was.
I mean, I've never watched it.
The naked mole rap lives in my brain rent free.
Yeah. So you guys have come up with some plans you've scouted. I don't want you guys to feel like the other ideas were like invalid. Like, oh well, Nova's idea worked, so we're all going to follow that one. So the plan so far is that Nova's agency is going to sell some tickets. They're going to book the apartment on your behalf, and they are going to try to get in as many guests and security and supplies and everything that they can. That success isn't guaranteed, right? So you might get to the docks and the security chief might be like, no, only 2 people, whatever. So if someone wants to, if you guys have other plans on how you want to get your character in, think about like, I want to get in my sniper rifle. How am I going to do that? Is the easiest way bypassing security altogether, or do I want to risk trying to get it through their scanners?
Okay, so in the dome, can you?
I just want to say
wrap
real
your
quick, I will be
vehicles?
right back. Y'all continue talking about that stuff.
I mean, I
Like-
may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I was the one who suggested we do a concert.
Right? Good job. We'll give you credit for
Yeah,
it.
good job.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
So can we like ferry our bikes and stuff into the dome?
All right.
Only
Our
if you're
bike?
going to do an exhibition. Think about like, so this is a self-contained community, and
There's roads.
there are roads, but like there's it's not like a small city. It's like a city block with some houses in it.
All right. So
Right.
hear me out. How is everybody else on acrobatics?
I don't think they'll have a problem with mine.
Silent, are you going? Do you have good acrobatics?
Let me check. I have escape artist, gymnastics, but
You have
not
gymnastics.
specifically-
That might work. What if we set up like a big quarter pipe or a big half pipe behind Nova, and we're riding our bikes up and down the quarter pipe doing half pipe doing tricks while the concert's going on? That's so we can get our bikes on.
I could do that. I have vehicles 9, a pool of 9.
I
Driving
just
my bike.
I think this is the funniest shit.
Doing
because
motorcycle tricks behind her and shit.
you will not like I wish there was an opportunity for you to use your bikes here. Like there's not enough road for you to do anything cool with your bikes. But the idea that you want to do an exhibition is totally valid. So it's like,
yeah,
oh,
but we
bummer.
could also use our bikes to like like in the down tubes or something like that. Hollow out the down tubes and hide our parts of our guns and shit like that, so we can use our bikes to smuggle in the rest of the parts
The
or
reason why
like
is
weapon parts and shit.
a smuggling compartment, so we could get our weapons and disassembly them a bit.
Disassembly.
Yeah, disassemble them and put them into the compartment. And once we're in, we can just take them out.
Exactly.
don't need to
We're
use
just
the
using that
bikes
as an
for
excuse
that.
to get our bikes in, which we can use to smuggle all of our weapons in.
Though I will say my coat has Faraday pockets. It has a concealed pocket, so I could just put my pistol in there and
Yeah.
carry it with me.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, the only thing I'm really worried about is my
I'm
sniper rifle,
going-
because that's gonna be kind of hard to get in.
Crim's going as Nova's spiritual advisor.
That's great, right? Yeah, he's here for the vibes, man. What if my vibes get off?
Yeah.
He's got a
Yeah.
lot of chocolate.
Oh,
I'm just
If we're
Nova's
going
bodyguard.
Oh, the
security, we
machine
can bring
pistol.
weapons.
that's to make sure the vibes don't get too bad.
Those spirits, they can attack, man. Bad, nasty spirits.
So the idea that you want to smuggle like weapons and equipment inside of this dome is a really good idea, because somehow you're going to have to get to Ebony. That's the goal, is you need to get to Ebony, and she has armed robot guards patrolling her villa.
I mean, first of all, aren't we going in as Mithrali's guards? If so, we should
No,
have
Mithrali.
at least a
Mithrali.
minimal
Now-
amount of
now-
talent on us.
Novi.
So you
Nova.
are
Nova.
going in as Nova's security, but that doesn't mean you can walk in with a sniper
Okay, maybe
by
not a
any
sniper
means.
rifle, but like a pistol and some throwing knives.
The security chief will say that on Nova's manager's behalf, on Geneva Diamond, sends Nova a list of acceptable devices and the equipment that are allowed through the security checkpoint. And it is pretty basic. It's like, at most, you can have like a personal knife.
So I
Like,
can't
you-
bring in a Barrett Model 122.
No
Can I
firearms,
Is-
no
is-
explosives,
25?
no personal vehicles that so all personal vehicles will be left at the dock. If you have there's like a blurb on there that, like, as a resident, if you would like to have a vehicle, that vehicle must be like registered, and it must have certain security features, and it must be, all this stuff. So like the idea that you want to get your bike on here for an exhibition is already like a red flag, but at most that's the only justification you can have. So you're not going to be able to drive your tank vehicle into this dome. It's
Okay, so
very
no vehicles.
There's
It's
no way
very
I'm taking my
sanitary.
hovercraft with the
What about my
flamethrower on the
Schwinn?
front of it.
The Schwinn, it has to be registered.
In that
Has
case,
to-
here's my suggestion. I can try and sneak in through an alternative entrance and bring all the snipers and stuff with me.
I was gonna say, this place we're gonna be probably doing the concert at night. When I was out there on my hovercraft, did I notice them watching the skies at all? Could we like do a halo jump and fucking drop off weapons on the roof?
So that's it looks like they did not have drone security on the outside perimeter. There were maintenance bots climbing along the outside of the dome. They were painting, polishing, repairing, welding, right? So the maintenance crew is all automated. It did not like there is a security submarine beneath the barge that is patrolling. It does not seem like there is a security aircraft assigned to this barge.
Could they maybe parachute as well with the weapons and then infiltrate on my own?
That's
Well, I
the
wouldn't
Halo
say
jump.
parachute. I would say halo.
Yeah.
Now,
High
from-
altitude, low opening.
Well, what you'll need to do to determine, so you saw this dome, you scouted it from the edges, the perimeter, right, on the outside. And Merlin mentions things like sewer and HVAC. We'll say that Merlin also mentioned that there is a large tower in the inside of the dome, right in the center of the dome, and he's not sure what it's for. He's basically said it's too techy for me. I don't understand. If you guys want to take like an aerial tour to try and scope it out, some more of the utility stuff, that could be another expense, but also give you some information on how to get past the docks. Because all you got to do is get past the docks. If that means strapping C4 to the side of this wall and trying to blow it to sneak shit in, this is a heavily reinforced. I mean, it's military grade. It's bomb proof, and so.
No, I'm saying I would go through the HVAC.
Right. So you wanna get onto the barge and find a vulnerability to like weld and cut your way into.
Yeah, I would do that, and then I would crawl my ass through the entire thing with weapons strapped to my back, and basically just infiltrate that way.
Definitely, and you can definitely do that. Because of the scouting you've done, you can see that there are some external utility access that you could weld or blow up and get your way in.
Definitely weld. I don't want to blow it up. Blowing it up would raise some alarms.
It might, right? So and that's it, right? If you set off a bunch of alarms, what's likely to happen is you will be detained at the docks, and if you're caught, right? So if you set off an alarm, the whole dome is going to go up on alert. The security chief is going to, send out some drones to find you. That's pretty much the best he can do. Everything's automated. We'll say that Geneva was able to reach out to the security chief, whose name is Bach, and she was able to get a little bit of information, background on Bach. She said, "Oh, he's a very professional, kind of a bit of a nerd. He's actually a goblin, which is kind of, it is what it is, but very smart. He said that he helped engineer the Puget Pearl, and they offered him a juicy lifetime contract. And so, but he seems amicable, takes his job very seriously. So if anything gets flagged, of course he's not going to let it through. But him and I struck a good conversation, and it sounds like he'll have a little bit of forgiveness. But just so he runs a tight ship. He's got a reputation as a high security facility, so. So she's kind of given you, here's what to expect from the security chief.
Okay. So
if you try to bring a rifle onto his baby and he finds it, he's going to be pretty upset. So
Yeah,
it's
I
just
think
those are the
so.
consequences for getting caught. So to your point, it might be a really good idea to avoid the docks if you're trying to sneak in some equipment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna try to, because I can stick to walls with hang time, and I have like good climbing because of it.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna try to climb the top of the dome to get to an area where I can weld open the system, the outside, get into a vent, and then I'll just climb my way through.
Okay.
Because welding, I just have to stay still, so I can be connected with three limbs like Spider-Man, and then just be like,
Plasma cutting, not welding, but yeah.
yeah, basically.
All right, guys. I think it's time.
The mission's a go, you guys.
No.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Oh,
For a cigar.
So we've got like an hour and a half.
Mhm.
Do we want to take a potty break here?
I'm good.
Meet back in 5 or 10? Anybody opposed?
Yeah, sounds good.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Oh.
Zero. You got to get that sniper rifle, dude.
Mm-mm. Not
Yeah, you're gonna need to use that sniper rifle indoors.
10
So,
feet away.
for context, this is like a city block. The dome is like a city block on the inside, and there's 8 residential villas. So if you can imagine like a gated community with 8 large mansions,
Mhm.
that's the kind of scale on the interior of this place.
Yeah,
Meaning a
So-
sniper rifle would be really
overkill.
useful.
A sniper
It's
rifle would
overkill.
be usable for sure,
It's usable, but it's overkill because
and
can
it's a
use
large
assault rifles.
villa. So if you're under the assumption Ebony is going to be in her villa with her armed guards, and so like
the problem
plus,
is you can't
if I need
snipe
to be
from
in the-
your
Yeah, you can.
gated community. Like,
I
there's
can
nowhere
snipe
to
from a
hide.
different roof.
Yeah.
Plus,
and
if I need
people
to
will
be
see
close
you from
quarters,
a mile away.
and plus if
There's
I,
nothing to hide.
exactly a mile away. Plus,
Yeah,
if I need to, do some close quarter stuff, I have I have a sound suppressor, and I have an underbarrel chainsaw.
Mhm.
a silenced underbarrel chainsaw.
Oh, it's an
That-
electric. It doesn't make much sound until it contacts.
Yeah.
Sniper rifles are bulky as well, so it's hard to carry.
Yeah, I
So
need my
you won't
sniper.
even carry my machine pistol.
No,
See how
you
it
can
is.
carry that by yourself.
Yeah. So you have a size requirement, a minimum and a maximum.
Mhm.
How rude.
I have limited space. I'm carrying so much already. I can carry up to 45 kilograms. Actually, 30 kilograms.
How do you even tell the
Yeah,
weight?
and
Because
out
I
of
don't even see my
everything, I
weight.
think my machine pistol would be the lightest.
I'm carrying my own pistol and my own duffel bag full of shit. Like
So you're
jammers,
offering
noise
you're offering to
machines.
carry anything we want except for the things we want.
No, I'm offering to carry everything that's makes sense. If you need a
And-
bomb smuggled in, I can carry a bomb for you. It's just I'm not gonna smuggle it
Hey,
in.
who was the one that was trying to convince me that that I should upgrade my pistol because even though it's like
And I
the
would carry
last, yeah,
I would carry
Yeah.
that because if you would upgrade to an SMG, I could carry that no problem.
but I can't use an SMG.
Of course you can. Everybody can.
He's
Just
telling
not
me
very
I
well.
bought a brand new sniper rifle, and he's not going to take it in so I can use it.
Look, you have a brand new shotgun, don't you?
That was for, a backup
yeah, exactly.
piece.
I'll carry that for you.
I just bought a Barrett Model 122. It kitted this thing the fuck out. I didn't even buy fucking any upgrades for my shotgun.
Don't worry, the shotgun's gonna be lighter because of that.
All right. So what we're going to do
It's
is
also like a vent. Like, imagine the size of a small ass vent. I'm already crawling in a contorted state, and now I have to carry an entire back full of machine guns and sniper rifles
Exactly,
Yeah,
but
shit.
you won't
You got
take a
this?
single little pistol from me.
because that would add to that maths already.
Plus he's
No,
got to
you're-
have
I-
that duffel bag to shove loot into. You know,
Exactly.
you got to have
I'm
X
carrying
spare
all your
room.
duffel bags. I'm carrying all the loot as well. If we have
No,
to get out.
but what I'm saying, he offers to carry some stuff for us, and then he's like,
And
"No,
then-
that's too big. No, that's
Yep,
too small."
not gonna do that.
We have to have standards.
Not doing
here.
it.
We have
No,
to,
no,
we have
no.
limits.
Yeah.
The trick,
If you-
I mean, just as a player and a DM, the trick is to just try to see how much shit you can get away with. That's, you know, if you can convince the DM, then anything's possible.
Yeah, what is it called? You don't have to go fast. You can go rather slow because we're going to be setting up the venue and everything like that. So you can take your time
Are
getting
you
down
gonna-
there
are
and
you
carrying all the
gonna-
good stuff.
Are you gonna pay for my masseuse? Like I'm
Yeah,
gonna need a lot of physical
I'll pay.
therapy.
You know what?
after
I'll give you
Hey, if you don't make
$10,000.
enough, if you don't make enough off of this to pay for a masseuse, then you're doing something wrong.
Sorry, I have a lot of expensive.
Even if you want to go and
pay.
pay, even if you want to go and pay for one that gives you a happy ending.
It's like, you know what, guys? Let's just skip to the end of the mission and start spending our money. Who's gonna go? Who's gonna go? There is a system in Shadowrun for acquisition, and man, does it suck! It's like, okay, you have to roll to see if you can find someone selling the thing you like. And then you have to roll to see if they can get it. If they can get it through security, if it's unavailable, if it gets through customs undamaged. And then you have to negotiate price with them. And then it's probably illegal because you didn't go through the right channels. All this stuff, I'm like, man, nah, I'm cool, dude. If it's under availability 12, you can probably get it. So I had someone, they're like, can I buy an RPG? I'm like, what's the availability? I think it's like 6. Sure, dude, buy 10 of them. buy a pallet of them. You know,
A pallet of RPGs.
a pallet of RPGs is totally normal.
Well,
That's the most
If he's only
Shadowrun
going to
shit.
take my shotgun, can I upgrade my shotgun?
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is like each person will get an opportunity to try and find a creative way to get their equipment through. If you don't care, like for Krim, I don't think he even needs his idol to cast spells and shit. He could just show up and walk through security, right? And that's easy, right? No issues. But if you are trying to get, you know, a sniper rifle through security and you fail, then that might put extra. So like Merlin has arranged for lighter security for Ebony. Imagine that being undone because you failed to sneak a 50 cal through security. That's the kind of stuff we're looking at as far as like pros and cons of trying to take risks. Now Zero
Or
is going to go around security, and because of that, really just has to, as long as they don't get caught by whatever systems are in place, like is going to have all their gear.
I mean, fuck it. I could do a Halo drop in. I got a
ODST.
chameleon suit.
Okay, but then they're gonna have vibrating pressure plates outside, and they're gonna immediately detect you.
Yeah, well, you're not taking my sniper rifle, so what other choice do I have?
This is like
Don't take your sniper rifle.
this is like I remember
I'm
being
getting
in
my
college.
sniper in there.
I was the guy who'd be like, I think we had homework due today, and everybody was like, dude, shut the fuck up. Don't they have
Why would
sensors on
you-
the outside? Dude, shut the fuck
Why
up.
would you remind the teacher we had homework? Oh,
Why would you
homework.
remind
I
the
have it
DM that they have
made.
pressure plates? Yeah. Are there traps in dungeons? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about those traps. Fuck you. Fuck the rest of you.
All right, so I think everybody's back, right? Did I skip?
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, we're all here. So you guys are a barge or a ferry has been rented on your behalf, and it's you 5 on this ferry headed to the Puget Pearl, and
Four.
like a dozen. There's like a dozen miscellaneous guests, and some of them are like influencers, so they've got their own social media gig going on, and some of them are just like what do you call them, like esoteric art collectors and fans and things like that. So it's a pretty eclectic crew. They paid good money to come to this concert, and they're all pretty excited to get on to the Puget Pearl, something that's basically like a locked door that only certain people can get in. So the fact that they have an opportunity to get in to this VIP thing, it's like Coachella for these guys. They're fucking stoked to be going to a Nova concert on this thing. Now, on the ferry, is Nova like mingling, or is she like locked away? Is Nova the kind of star who like you can't shake her hand, or is she very personable with her?
Oh, she's
fans?
very personable.
She's like giving hugs and stuff, and all these people have their phones out.
Are you
Yes.
pre-gaming?
What?
Pre-gaming.
Are you pre-gaming?
Free gaming? Yeah, yes.
Yeah, by the time you hit the docks, you're shit-faced. Dude, I did like 3 tabs of X before I got on this mission.
I meant it more in this form of doing a mini concert on the.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so like there's people are trying to one-up each other and all this. There is a shipping container that you guys have. Your gear is on there. Now, you don't know, you assume that shipping container is going to go through some sort of scan process before, some security process. So between the ferry and the docks, you're either going to have to creatively unload that equipment or do something to try and get it through. So just consider that, like, you have your equipment on the ferry. Once it gets offloaded at the dock, you're going to have to find some way to get it through security. For Zero has a duffel and is expecting to basically get off the ferry and disappear.
So, do you guys think we can like disassemble our weapons and hide them inside like the amps and shit?
Probably.
Well, that's the thing. If they're like scanning everything and they see like a gun barrel inside the amp, it's gonna
They're gonna notice it, yeah.
Now,
how do they know what an amp isn't supposed to have an amplifying tube?
so that's a good point. So Krim,
this amplifier has a trigger system. Yeah, that's fine. That's how the music comes out.
It's modified. It's custom. I don't want to like force anybody into anything, but Krim, you have magic. Nova is a hacker. Or is a badass.
I have very light magic.
So consider things like that of like, don't rule anything out. You could potentially use magic to fool the sensors. You could maybe
Nova
convince.
Could my camouflage spell do anything?
I would say that you could camouflage like a box to look like it's not there or something like that. So what I want to do is I want you guys to meet this chief security overseer, and then each person is going to get a chance to like use some way to get through their stuff. And if you don't, then you're essentially not going to have that stuff inside the dome, which doesn't mean like mission failed. It just means it'll be interesting.
So what stuff do you guys want me to carry? And also, Mitrali, you could technically hack their systems and change what they see. So they don't see the inside of the amp as full of weapons, but just as a normal amp.
That's true.
So yeah, do you guys
Well, I want you to carry my sniper, but
so you can get your shotgun, and then you can try to smuggle your sniper another way.
So in character, I think Zero is like, no, dude, get your own sniper. But like, to be fair,
I will take
Zero
my
could
auto assault
definitely get
16.
this thing. Zero could definitely get this thing in his baggage. He just refuses to.
He's just doing it because he's a dick.
He's doing it to fuck with you.
I just like I can get your shotgun in, but you gotta figure out a way for your sniper.
My shotgun's my shotgun at this point is heavier than my sniper.
It's smaller.
Nope,
your
it's a-
50 cal. Your 50 cal is like 2-3 feet. Okay.
My fucking shotgun is an auto assault 16 with a 32 round drum mag, a foregrip, and a drum magazine. Oh, and an underbarrel chainsaw.
Yeah, that's easier.
No, it's about the same size.
It's just,
Literally.
It's shorter. It's shorter. It's easier.
just at this point, just pull out a saw and chop off half the barrel of your sniper.
Go for a fucking shorty Barrett.
All right. So let's. You guys get off the ferry, and Zero has their duffel bag, and has to decide what equipment they're going to take in that luggage. So, Zero, I imagine you have your own equipment, right?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be taking my Ares Light Fire 75, which is a pistol. It also has a concealed holster, extended clip, stuff like that, and a throwing knife. And I'm gonna actually carry them in my concealed pocket. It's also a Faraday pocket.
Oh man! So your knives can't get shocked.
Yeah, and also, because the Faraday pocket basically isolates the interior of the pocket so that outside electronics can't interfere with it. So it also can't see through it. It's like a giant block that's preventing camera, like maybe sensors, metallic sensors from detecting it.
So, what you are assuming, based on all the information you've given, is that the utilities are not full of scan tunnels and things. So once you get through, like once you plasma torch a hole into these utilities, you don't expect to have sensors inside there. Like,
Yeah, but the Faraday pocket, I already have it, so I might as well use it to conceal my pistol, so I have space for other stuff in the duffel bag.
so what we'll do is I'll make a roll here. I'm just gonna roll 4 and see how many hits. So you can take 2 other pieces of equipment with you in your bag.
Okay, so
Do you want to take, for example, is Nova's deck integrated? I think we talked about that before. Is it cyberware?
No, the deck is not cyberware.
Oh, it's not
So
cyberware?
yeah, so you might want to take Nova's cyber deck. You know, you might want to take
But if I take her
another
cyber
gun.
deck, then
I mean,
she can't
it's
hack.
not integrated, but it is definitely made to where she can make it seem like it's part of her DJ equipment.
So that's how you will either risk it being scanned and denied by the chief security guy, or you can have Zero just bypass that.
I mean, maybe she
That's
could
what
just say
that's what
that
we're talking about.
it's her it's her DJ equipment. It's like the DJ soundboard that they have. Like that's that.
Right. But there is a risk that they'll find out that that's not true, right?
Honestly, I
this
think
guy
the deck would
finds
be
out-
important enough where we should just throw it in there to make sure that we have it.
Okay. But if I do
It's
it
like,
the way,
what can we?
then...
It's like, what can we not afford to lose at all?
Okay.
And I think that's one of the things we can't afford to lose.
It just means that she can't hack. So
she can't hack until you guys meet up inside the dome.
Yeah.
So that's up to you guys. But you have 2 slots in this duffel bag for things that you can basically just get in for free.
Viper, do you have any swords that you would like to take, or like?
I'm not taking any of that.
tricked
The
out
only thing I'm taking is my
SMGs?
Ares Predator.
You just want your sniper?
Nope.
Then what do you want?
I literally just said.
Yeah, I didn't hear you well.
Because you were talking.
So
I'm
what
not
War's
carrying-
firearm?
I'm only carrying my Ares Predator, which is my handgun.
Okay.
My sword and
wanna
my
get that
rifle, you don't
through?
need to worry about that. That'll still be in my truck.
Okay. In that case, is there anything that's super necessary other than Mitrali's deck? If not, then I'll take Dante's sniper because he's been whining so much.
Well,
Actually, no. You can take my shotgun.
I thought your shotgun was already in there.
I don't know. Is it?
No, so here we've got a list. So in Zero's luggage, in this duffel bag, he's got his own equipment. We've got War's handgun, Dante's shotgun. And we can change this up, this is just what I'm taking notes on.
I already know a way I'm going to get my sniper rifle through.
Okay.
Hey, this troll rectum is not big enough for your rifle. Shut up.
Damn it. Okay. I have another plan.
Yeah, that was plan A. All right, so so Zero, you load up your duffel bag and take off, and we'll say that the staff there, they're all people, right? So we talked about how inside the Puget Pearl you're going to have automated staff, but in the docks, these are all metahumans. You notice as you're sneaking through the containers. They're trolls, orcs, goblins, dwarves, gnomes. These are all non-human, as others might mention. So metahuman, and that's just something that you notice as you're passing through here. They're not like security. They are dock workers. So these are people holding the security inspectors are not like trained professionals, they're staff, right? So they have wands and they're going through the containers and they've got like digital pads and they're running through inventory notes and things like that, but these aren't armed security professionals, these are just workers. So Zero has no problem navigating those guys. Does Zero have any skill in demolitions?
Demolitions. Let me see.
Oh shit! Actually, hey, would it have been cool if I gave Zero my 5 sticks of dynamite?
Yeah, sure. So,
I mean, does he have room for it?
That would kind of ruin the entire stealth aspect of the mission.
You don't have to actually use them, but if you tie them to somebody, it can be a very, very good negotiating point.
You'll have to take one of these things off the list to get the dynamite through.
How about just one stick?
just it's a cigar, I swear.
Down his
He likes
pants.
I mean, in my luggage.
Oh, wait. No, it's not cigar.
I mean, part of my weapons is I have a bunch of grenades, so we can just trap them in grenades.
Yeah, Zero has all of Zero's equipment.
Okay, so yeah, no, and Crim's not going to attempt to take in his handgun or his dynamite.
So Zero, you don't have any demolitions, do you?
Not demolitions, which is a problem. I have locksmith.
Locksmith. I mean, so that's demolitions would be that plasma torch, and so we'll say that's Zero's plan was to use the handheld plasma torch and just carve a hole in, but we're talking about throwing sparks, heat signatures. This place is high security. It has cameras everywhere. It has auto turrets from the ceiling. It also has drones, roto drones that are patrolling. And so far, Zero has had no issues ducking from cover to cover.
Actually, I have nimble fingers, which allows me to add +1 equal to the buff I have on nimble fingers for any test where small tools or items are used. It's at your discretion.
What I would recommend is that you use that locksmith and your nimble fingers, right? We'll say that Zero is searching for, a place to weld open one of these utility pipes and instead finds a utility access hatch that has been locked with a padlock, like a physical padlock. You're going to have to access this padlock without drawing cover from these cameras and these drones. I'm convinced that you can get this lock open, no issue. It's just, can you do it without getting caught? And so at this point, we want to hear what Zero's going to do to stay concealed from the security systems. And you guys can help him with that. You have all these comms. We'll say that Zero finds this lock and says, all right, I'm going for it. And you get like a live feed If somebody wants to help maybe distract this security to get Zero to that lock.
Well, to start off
Is
with,
there a tree?
if there's any magical detection, I can oppose that with my cloak ability, so that shouldn't be a problem.
As there is no magical security on
There's
here.
none? Okay.
No, and in fact, like because do you have astral perception?
No, but I can just use it, and I have an increased chance of avoiding magical detection.
So you expected some like extra warding. I mean, this is a high security place. We'll say
Yeah.
that you didn't get that tingle on the back of your neck before you encountered some sort of magical resistance. That hasn't happened. So it seems like it's
Cloak?
all mechanical
Yeah,
in
cloak
this
is
dock.
cloak is constant. It's not an active, so I am always basically protected against this.
Right, and you haven't found any magical traps, so you don't have
Yes.
to worry about that.
I have also enhanced perception as part of my adept traits, which would allow me to, which basically I would use that to keep tabs on nearby security, to basically find a gap where I could go there and just do it when they're not watching.
Right. So you're a professional infiltrator. You've ducked between these shipping containers. There are patrols of these drones that are security drones, but then there's also the staff. And you've had no issue, analyzing the patrol panels and getting to this lock. But now you're going to be vulnerable. You've got to pull these tools out, and you've got to start fiddling with this lock without getting caught. Your back will be kind of turned to the scene. And so either you or someone from the party is going to need to help you get this lock open without being detected.
If there's a tree, hide behind the tree while doing this.
Krim, you guys are
Wow.
watching as your luggage and things and your fans are being, offloaded at this dock, and you can kind of see a live feed on the network from Zero. Krim, you're just like, you're just like texting. Does Krim have a phone, or does Krim how does Krim access the web?
I have. Trying to get open. Comlink, I think.
Now, what is it? Is it a flip phone? Is it nice? Is it an iPad? What's your comlink?
Oh,
It's a
Is it-
Motorola
it's an implant?
fucking brick phone.
It's a Tamagotchi. Does Krim really have an implanted comlink? Interesting. Where is it implanted? What is it like? In his skull? It's a butt plug.
It's vibrates.
No, it's,
when it
it's-
gets text.
it's implanted behind his ear.
So it's like an ear. It's not the comlink isn't invasive because as a magician, any cyberware that you have will actually reduce your magic rating. So I'm going to assume that
Correct.
you don't have cyberware. It's like jewelry.
No,
It's more like
it is
jewelry.
a cyberware.
Oh, it is.
It reduces me by 0.2.
Oh, okay, so you did take the hit. That's all that matters. So you've got this chip implanted in this skull behind your ear. I imagine you're sending text or audio from your mind. If it's an implant, you can do that. To Zero saying, I would recommend hiding behind a tree. This probably isn't helpful. Zero, you with your enhanced perception, you know that as you're getting these tools out, it's likely someone's going to come around the corner. So you or somebody else is going to have to make sure that you get away with this act.
I mean, if that's what it is, then I can just take one of my bullets that I have, and I'll just throw it in a
The
place
classic.
to distract. And they're
Or-
gonna be like, what's this bullet just lying around here? They're just gonna,
Hey,
be
Miss
distracted
Nova.
by it.
What do you think of doing a quick impromptu song for these nice people?
Sure, I can give him a little warm
A
up.
little razzle dazzle.
Never gonna give you up. No.
Never gonna let you
I do have to question if my idol has any difficulties getting through security.
We'll say that it's registered as one of your bodyguards, and not all, like your bodyguards, including this team, will have to be screened. So it's not a guarantee. If the chief security guy says, "Yeah, I don't think I want any outside robots," or he might say, "Your robot's got to be under my control while it's on my premises." So those things might complicate it. Just know that like you all need to get inside this bubble, and I just want to know how interesting it's going to be.
Okay.
So for Zero, you pull a bullet out and you flick it down the corner, and we're gonna see if that gets you away from this thing.
Mm-hmm. And if there's any like non-human, robots that are about to spot to me, switch on the jammer. It's got an area rating of 1, but that should be good enough.
So this guy got a pretty good hit on his perception, and he hears the clink clink and walks over to the bullet, picks it up, he looks around, and immediately starts investigating the area. So he's coming right for you. You've only got a moment to react.
I'll go around the container, try to get behind him, and I'll throw a knife at his neck, try to kill him. Like not at the like the middle of his neck, but at the where the neck and the head.
Wait, who are you trying to kill?
Whoa, this escalated quickly. So, do you have sneaking? I know you must have sneaking on your sheet.
So I have both sneaking and I have stealth, and my sneaking has a pool of 12, and then stealth is 6.
So go ahead and do your sneaking roll. This guy, he didn't roll enough hits to get past your magical stuff. So like the magical stuff definitely is going to give you the full dice. So you've got a pool of 12 to assassinate this guy.
This poor guy who's just working 2 jobs, trying to pay for his family right before Christmas.
So that's perfect. So you can see you've only got the 1, which means there's no glitch. That's really all I'm asking for is did you glitch? And you didn't. So this guy's at your mercy, and so you hear footsteps coming your direction from the direction you threw the bullet. You know that the person is investigating. You immediately disengage from this lock. Your tools are still in the mechanism, but you have hidden behind one of these containers. And as the person comes up to the lock and starts looking at it, you see that they are a small, like, dwarf woman, and they have like a visor. It's like a tech goggle kind of visor, and they're holding a data pad that they were using to scan things. And so this small dwarf woman walks up to this lock and begins taking a look at it with her tech goggles, and you have full access to disable this person however you see fit.
Well, C0 is a master at throwing knives. She
has a shirt on that says "I love my kids." All 17 of them.
So Zero, when he gets into his professional mode, he shows no mercy when infiltrating. He'll kill anyone that that can discover him. Reminder of Agent 47, how he can just kill everyone and just hide their bodies. That's kind of how he operates.
So here's the thing.
Once you throw the knife, you see a tattoo that says "New Grandma."
Does Zero's new to the crew, and so does the crew know that Zero's known for being cold-blooded, or does Zero really good at hiding that?
He's good at hiding that. He doesn't show that like outside of missions. He's not always like that. It's just like a switch.
So do you mute comms before you assassinate this person?
No, he just has a sound link. So
okay, so you're not broadcasting this this murder. So Zero,
he doesn't have any cybernetics.
Zero, a trained professional, assassinates this dock worker and is able to hide the body in a nearby container. We'll say it's full of like fruit or something. And so it's one of those Assassin's Creed moments where he it's a takedown and an easy drop of the corpse with no evidence left. And you're able to get this lock off of the utility hatch and sneak into the utility access. So you have all of your equipment and you were not caught. and there's one casualty in the mission so far.
Mom, Dad, is Grandma gonna come to Christmas this year?
we already said Christmas is at risk. He's trying to save Christmas. He takes this very seriously.
Well, he's ruined one little kid's Christmas.
Grandma is
At
coming
least.
home. Unfortunately, we had to sacrifice Christmas to save her life.
Yeah.
So, as the rest of the crew is not murdering people, is getting off of the ferry, you are approached by this goblin fella, Bach, who Geneva Diamond mentioned, is the chief security overseer of the Puget Pearl, specifically the docks here. And the small goblin man approaches. He's got a couple of staff to his left and right with scanner wands, and says, "Welcome to the Pearl. This is my lifeblood, my pride and joy, my baby. And I won't be having any shenanigans happen here. A lot of the clientele have really high standards. I just want to know, first of all, that you guys have good intentions. You're going to behave yourself. And second of all, I want to say my daughter is a huge fan, Miss Nova. I would love to get an autograph, please."
Oh, definitely.
So Bach seems kind of, he seems very stern and serious, but he gets really excited and nervous being in the presence of a celebrity. And you can see he starts rifling to see for something he can sign. The staffers, they start scanning the guests that you guys have brought, the miscellaneous randos. And so they're distracted doing that scanning. They're patting people down. They're waving wands. They're looking over them with these tech goggles that they have.
Grim will hand Nova one of his 100 index cards.
Make sure that's on your sheet.
I'm gonna hand Nova a crown. I have 120 crowns. She can use to sign it.
Crayons. Which color do you hand her?
I have 120, so I'm guessing one of those big ass boxes with all the different colors in there.
Oh, you just hand her the whole box?
Yeah, I'll hold out the box so she could choose whatever color she wants.
Yeah, he's
So
a Marine.
Bach-
That's his lunch.
I'm
Bach
going to.
pulls out a Sharpie from his bandolier of Sharpies and sees the box of crayons. He kind of tilts his head. So you sign one of these index cards for Bach, and he seems real pleased. He's like, he went from professional and serious to kind of out of breath and exasperated. He says, "Oh man, she's gonna love this. My daughter. I've already done all my Christmas shopping and all that stuff, but this is gonna be the prize among all of it. That she's not gonna believe that I got to meet the Nova." And he just starts kind of gushing. You're getting to the scanning folks are getting to the last of the line of guests before they get to you, Nova's security guards. There is a crane that has picked up the shipping container with all of your gear, unless you're trying to get through these scanners with your gear on your person. If you've got a concealed holster, things like that, those things are now at risk. And so
I was going to take my sniper rifle and leave it in there with the rest of the gear and camouflage it to look like a mic stand.
There you go. That's it, right? So you've got a magical spell that you're concentrating on. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So just keep that in mind as we go through. So we'll start with Krim. Krim, do you have any paraphernalia you're trying to sneak through these guards here?
I'm gonna have that little shrunken head right around my neck.
So they, that's it? You don't have a pistol or anything?
Nope, I've leaving all my stuff there because all I really need are my spellcasting things. What are they called?
Your reagents.
No, sorry.
Like a focus?
Yeah,
that's
my foci.
head.
Yeah, I have that one, and I have a counterspelling focus.
So as
which
you
is
are
going to be a shriveled hand.
As you're being scanned, Krim, it doesn't look like they are picking up on anything magical. And one of the staffers, they're wanding you, right, with one of these scanning wands, and they're looking over you with these tech goggles. They say, I don't want to be I don't want to be rude, man, but do you have any like? You don't happen to have any magical paraphernalia on you, do you? And this
Just
person
my
is a
good luck
metahuman.
charms.
They are a dryad, and so they've got kind of wispy hair that with like the texture of leaves, very naturey. So you make a joke and try to poo-poo them away.
Yeah, no, just motion to my my foci and just be like, "These are my good luck charms."
Yeah, dude, I might have to document these as potentially magical. Like we have like one magic dude on staff. I might have to call him over here. And this person scanning you looks over to Bach, who is fawning over Nova. So Bach's a little bit distracted, but this staffer is going to get his attention if you don't intervene.
Nova is going to reach into her jacket pocket because she's still got comlinks on, so she can hear what's going on. She's going to reach into her jacket pocket and pull out a ticket that is a free ride to any of her shows, and going to offer it for his daughter.
Oh man! So this goblin dude, he's looking up at. I imagine is Nova like an average sized person, because
Yeah.
this goblin is small. He's like 3 foot tall. They're looking up at Nova, and you offer to sweeten the deal, and he's just like, oh my god, So clearly, this goblin is fantasizing about how excited his kid is going to be, the joy of Christmas, all that stuff. Now, Krim, do you do anything to keep this staffer from mentioning this to Bach, who's distracted?
Looking through my my stuff.
Nova is 6'1".
Damn. As an elf, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that still massive?
Like average for
her legs are also cybernetic.
So Krim, they are this staffer is eyeing your fetishes and only seems to be assuming that there's some magical potential that they might need to run through their supervisor.
I'm gonna tell them, hey, now look, they just good luck. They don't do nothing unless bad luck come. You know how that work.
the triad, like this small woman in like overalls, like is a staffer, is looking up at your large troll form, going and just slowly shakes their head because they seem to have no idea how any of that works. In fact, they're assuming that it does work in a very magical way, not that it's fake. They seem nervous.
How tall is the dryad?
Small, I'd say like 5 foot.
A full 2 feet shorter than I am.
Oh yeah. They seem nervous. Not that Krim's intimidating, but that they might get in trouble for not mentioning something that could potentially be a security risk.
Is there anything I can roll to try to calm them down?
Sure.
I mean, would it help if Dante walked up and like, are you talking about that hocus pocus bullshit again?
Yeah, you can assist for sure.
Just try to help him out,
Okay.
Calling him a supernatural freak. Or
do you have con? The skill con?
I don't think I do.
No.
No, neither of you do. So you both of you just try to mention.
I have negotiation.
So negotiation's great. Like, hey, maybe you negotiate like a bribe, or maybe you negotiate that they let this person in because you vet them. So go ahead and roll that pool for negotiation.
Negotiation, it's a pool of 5.
It's not great.
Is there a bribing pool?
3 hits.
Oh shit!
3 hits is good enough for this normal ass staff. So this is an employee, right? This is just someone who works here. So what does Dante say? I mean, they succeed. You convince this person that Krim's objects are not any risk. What does Dante say to this person who's like super nervous?
Dante's gonna be like walking up and, quit talking to him about that hocus pocus mumbo jumbo bullshit. And I'm gonna lean over to the guy. He also believes the Earth is flat. I don't get it, but the guy's kind of crazy.
Oh, so the dryad lady, she kind of stammers and she's like, "Oh, I see. He's like one of those quote magicians, right? Like card tricks and stuff."
Yeah.
Yeah, my sister and I once went to like a soothsayer, and they said they were going to predict the future, and like none of that shit came through.
Yeah. No, he thinks he's got powers, but a week ago he said that I'd be rich, and look at me now. I'm just sitting here trying to work a day job. I don't know what the hell's this guy's problem.
Does Miss Nova know that he's a hack?
Look, Miss Nova believes what Miss Nova wants to believe. I'm not going to tell her otherwise.
Oh yeah, sure. I don't want to pry.
Yeah, no, it's all like, hey, look, the uglier the people around her are, the more beautiful she tends to look.
Look, if Miss Nova told me that the world was made of, that the moon was made of cheese, and that I was a goat farmer, the world would be made of, the moon would be made of cheese, and I'd be a goat farmer.
Yeah, I see that. I'm just trying to put food on the table and gifts under the tree myself. So you've got this person, and like they don't even scan you. They just sign you, and like Dante and Krim just get through this person, and they're cleared. So they basically put a big green check mark on their pad. Now, Nova and War need to get through security. So Bach, he says, "Oh, Miss Nova, I'm so grateful for your generosity, but everybody's got to get scanned, so let's just get this through. You can either go through the tunnel, or you can have my staffer here scan you. Whatever works. We'll just move this right along, and then, sir, you're a very large. You must be her main bodyguard. You're a very large person.
That is correct.
Now, is War's like covered in cyberware, like he's right, like he's a huge Bach is kind of takes an interest in some of the cybernetic implants. Says, "Oh, interesting. Quite a lot of heavy gear here." Does War like trying to get his pistol through? No, that's in Zero's luggage.
Yeah, that's in Zero's luggage.
So this goblin seems like a very technical person. Like they start mentioning some of the inner workings that they've worked on, and how some of those innovations have led to developments in cyberware. So Nova, do you choose to take the scan tunnel, or are you going to be scanned by hand?
I'll be scanned by hand.
All right, so you enter into the line after Krim and Dante, who've made it through, and you have all of your equipment in the shipping container, right?
Yeah.
So is there any, other than like the cyberware implants, there's nothing to be found here?
There is my my non-lethal little narco jet pistol. And,
you've got a little...
two... what are they? 2 manacles.
And that's on your person.
Yeah.
So,
We're doing some peaky shit tonight.
is the narcojet concealed, or is it just holstered?
It's holstered in my jacket.
All right, so they start to wave the wand up and down, and looking at their data pad, they can see a pretty basic overview of like cybernetic implants in the skull or whatever, and they do pick up the pistol, and so it pops up in kind of red flags on their pad, and they seem kind of nervous about. Similarly, it's like, oh shit, there was actually a red flag. This doesn't happen all the time. Do you want to try to intervene, or do you want to let them reach out to the security overseer?
They can reach out to the security overseer.
All right, so they kind of stammer, and Mr. Humboldt and the goblin turns away from War and said, "Yes, what did you find on Miss Nova?" And they show him the data pad, and he says, "A narco jet pistol, a basic." Is this for business or pleasure, miss?
Well, it's for maybe a little bit of pleasure, but it's mainly for self-defense.
Well, self-defense, Miss Nova. I pride myself in the security. Nothing that gets past my dock should be of harm to you. Do you really feel like you need the personal defense weapon?
I mean, I mainly keep it on me as a habit at this point.
You have such a huge bodyguard right here. Surely you won't need this.
I mean, yeah, the bodyguard. The bodyguard's a relatively newer addition.
I mean,
I
I can't be
will have
everywhere at once. And
I will
being
have
as
to
big as she
compensate.
is, she does need to defend herself sometimes.
As
I
long as
guess
I get
there
it,
are.
as long as I get it back.
Well, yes, everything that we confiscate here will be held in high security storage and will be returned as soon as you leave. I assure you, your goods are safe with us.
I assume you won't need to be taking my hand, and I'll hold up my hand, and a little shock will come out of it.
Oh no, I don't think that you can cause too much harm. It really, we're just trying to protect the other residents, and they do have their own private security that's allowed here, and so, I don't think you're going to be going over to someone's house and shocking them.
No.
So
No.
he does confiscate the pistol, but the rest of the equipment gets through.
Yeah.
So you're passed on through the line. Now Bach turns back to War and says, "Sir, do you have any questionable cybernetics or weapons that you might want to store in our secure storage?"
No, everything on me is welded and surgically implanted in my body, and I don't think I would be able to remove them.
Any explosives or chemicals that we of concern?
Not at all.
Now, I assure you that our scan tunnels are going to do a thorough dive through your cybernetics. I just want to make sure if there's anything I need to whitelist specifically, that it's all up on the up and up. Is any of the cybernetics that War has restricted? There might be a list of the restricted cybernetics. He's got a rocket that comes out of his knee. It'll say like availability or rating, and it might be like 6R, and that means that it's a rating 6 restricted.
I have a Faraday pocket, but that's kind of it. As I left all my other stuff in my truck. But all my enhancements are pretty standard.
Well, I think we'll let the scan tunnels decide, and I'll take a look through them personally. I do want Miss Nova to be well protected. You seem like a big, sturdy fella, but I'm sorry to inform you. As a bodyguard, I expect your job to be pretty boring for this event.
I'll be the judge of that.
So the crew is escorted to the scan tunnels where some of the equipment has been whitelisted. You do have the shipping container to worry about. A crane has lifted the shipping container off of the barge into the storage area here on the docks, and so it is mingled among a bunch of other units. Bach takes you to the entrance to his office where all of his computers and server and everything are. And this is in front of the scan tunnels that you'll be passing through. And he says, "Now I understand you have a delivery of equipment that you're going to be needing for the concert. We are going to be pushing that through the scan tunnels as well. I expect it to be, your typical instruments, basic electronics."
Yeah, should be.
Is there anything of concern specifically that you may need to have whitelisted?
Okay, so how does the restricted thing work?
So when you're on Chummer and you're buying guns and things like that, there's an availability, and the availability is basically just like how hard it is to get one of these things. And then it will say like 6. If the availability is 6, then it's like, you can't go buy it at a store, but you can request one or you can get it on the black market. And then it'll say like 6R or 6F. So R is restricted, meaning that it's illegal to own this unless you have a license, and it's unlikely that you have a license unless you're military personnel.
Well, shit.
Or, yeah, so anything that says R, if you're pulled over and they open your trunk and you've got some stuff in there with an R, they're going to seize it as illegal goods.
That's why
And
it
then
has
F,
compartments and stuff.
yeah, so you want to, anything with an R or restricted status is going to want to be concealed or snuck through. Anything with an F is considered like this dude has an RPG in the back of this vehicle, and so he is clearly a terrorist.
Yeah, F is
Right, so
forbidden.
that's the difference between having like an assault rifle in your truck versus having like a bomb or a nuclear warhead or a dirty, toxic bomb. So anything that's F is immediately considered like immediately dangerous to life and health to anybody who finds it or sees it.
Yeah. My problem is my cyber lockpick is 6R and my grapple hands are 12R.
So this is your equipment in the shipping container, and those are the kinds of things.
No, this is my
that
these are my cyberware.
Oh, your cyberware.
My hands
Dante,
are grapple hands.
Dante, you didn't get scanned.
Okay, good.
But there is a scan tunnel, right? And so because you didn't get scanned, like you didn't get an opportunity to whitelist those things. And so when you go through this scan tunnel, it's going to pick those things up. So what you need to do to get those through the scan tunnels is to have them whitelisted in Box network. Now you can do that a couple of ways, right? You can convince Bach that, hey, I've got these things, and it's just a toolkit as part of the trade as a bodyguard. You can try to hack his network, but Nova doesn't have her cyber deck. It's in the shipping container.
Well, just straight up, I'm gonna let him know, hey, I got my grapple hands.
It was a military experiment, and they let me out for the day.
I would have left him at home, but I kind of need my hands to protect her. I am security here.
If you've got a veteran ID, that's or like a disability registration.
I got one. I just never carry it on me. No, I don't have one.
Would that be on your? Maybe it could be on your fake SIN.
Do you have a fake SIN?
I don't. I have no clue.
Oh, then you probably don't.
Probably.
This is where you just say yes, and it's rating 6, and it's amazeballs, and I paid for it.
Oh yeah. There you go. I'll do that one.
So Dante, you have a multi-tool, like a cyber multi-tool?
My cyber deck?
You said you had like a multi-tool or some sort of device, right?
No, I have my cyber hands and my cyber finger.
Oh, and
which is a lot.
What do they do? Are they tools?
Tools? No, those are my cyberware. In terms of like tools, I'm not bringing anything with me.
So what I'm thinking is, what if you were to disable the scan tunnel in some way or modify it, right? So that's one way that you guys could bypass being scanned.
I would appreciate it.
So what I need is a creative solution for somebody to fool or disable or reroute this scan tunnel so that you can get all your equipment through.
Blow it up.
I thought you were gonna say blow him. I was like,
yeah, if you roll high enough. He's a little goblin, man.
Maybe the container has a bunch of fruits and a dead body inside.
I don't know. I just I realized my cybernetics were kind of going to be a bad thing going in here.
Well, so you have a cyber hand and a cyber finger. Like that's not.
I have two cyber hands.
I don't worry about your cybernetics. I worry about my cyber deck.
Well, your cyber deck is
You're looking
He
at
has
the
that,
shipping
doesn't he?
container.
Oh yeah.
No, Zero does not have the cyber deck. It's in the shipping container. So you need to get the shipping container and you guys through this scan tunnel. Now, like Wars, cybernetics haven't been whitelisted. Dante's haven't been whitelisted, and then Nova, like you've been scanned, Nova. So like your stuff has been whitelisted. He doesn't think you're of danger. He took your gun. Crim's been scanned. He doesn't have anything anyway.
What about my idol?
Oh yeah, your robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta scan that thing.
You gotta scan that thing.
Can you convince Bach not to scan it?
I'm gonna try.
How do you convince him? So he seems pretty. So far, what you've learned about Bach is that he takes his job very seriously. Will do nothing to compromise it. His daughter's a fan of Nova, and you've already given him, a ticket. And he's like an engineer, so he's very smart about technical things.
Well,
now this robot, I mean, is it geared to the teeth? What features does it have?
It has
Four
an
rocket
8F
launchers.
weapon in its left arm and a 12R weapon in its right arm. And it has a rudimentary cyber deck in one of its legs.
Oh, jeez. So,
when she was like, I was like, oh, so really bad. And no, very bad, very bad.
now, so Bach, this robot is accompanying you as one of your bodyguards, and so Bach says, now you have a security robot, and that's allowed for the residents of the Puget Pearl, but this robot will have to be assigned to the network. It will have to be registered so that it doesn't interfere with any of our systems. It doesn't, get out of control. It doesn't do anything unsanctioned, such as attack another resident. It can only be used for personal defense on your property. And so if you will consent to me registering this robot bodyguard to our network, then we can pass it through. This will apply restrictions and limited use outside of the premises of your villa. So basically, if you give him permission, your robot will only function on the rented property. So it will not be able to infiltrate Ebony's villa.
We can hack that later, right?
You could
I was
try.
gonna say,
You could
probably
try.
try to hack it.
Try. Sure.
So the Bach goes into his office and comes back with it's a mechanical device like a wristwatch, or like an ankle monitor, and motions for your security bot to come over to a station where it's going to be plugged in to the network.
Okay.
So you're gonna let this one happen?
Yeah, I'll let this one happen.
All right. So
Is there any way you can use your robot being plugged into the security network to hack the network and let us through the scanner?
I don't know.
Could you later
There
hack into
is.
the network and hack your robots out of the
I
network?
mean, yeah, that's like a direct connection to their system is
Yeah.
really
Exactly.
good for that.
So if you wanted to put a data bomb on your bot and try to have it trigger when it's inside the network, that's totally something you could have prepared for in advance. Now, because you haven't, probed the network of the Puget Pearl, only thing you know from the nets is that this is a high security facility. This is they spent a lot of money, and so it is very risky.
Okay.
So do you want to try to get your bot free? Do you want to free your bot later? Or do you want to try to trigger the data bomb now and maybe get an access to this network? If it fails, this bot is not getting into the bubble.
What am I looking at here?
You can have your bot highly restricted and then try to free it later, or potentially get a mark on this network, which is going to be difficult and risky. If it fails, your bot is not getting through the scan tunnel.
Yeah.
If it succeeds, then you could get a mark on this high security network, which would be very valuable.
What kind of challenge am I looking at?
It's going to be rough. Yeah, it's going to be, I would say, at least 5 hits. Now, on that note, you do have edge points. And so you could spend an edge to add a hit. So if you get a 4, you could spend an edge to get a 5. If you get a 5, you're good. If you get a 3, then your bot is going to be bricked for the rest of the mission.
I would.
So you can use edge, but what's burning an edge?
So burning an edge is like if you jump on a grenade and there's no way you're going to survive thematically, you can burn an edge which is permanent to your character. You'll never be able to get that edge back, but you somehow survive. So it's basically a get out of jail free ticket. If you jump off of a building without a parachute, you can burn an edge, permanently lose that edge, you somehow survive. But it is permanent, right? So like if you've got 3 edge and you burn one, you can never have more than 2 edge ever in the life of your character. But you can survive jumping on a grenade. If you use, like, so burning an edge is permanent, but if you use an edge point, you can get those back later. So you, during the mission and the next mission, you should try to use all of your edge points. So it's up to you how much risk you want. If you try to get this ankle monitor off the robot later, once it's inside, you could end up bricking the robot. You might be able to get it off, and then you can send the robot in to, bypass security.
Yeah. So I'd be looking at hacking, right?
This would be, so this would be a hacking roll, and it would be how good is your data bomb?
Okay. Well, I've got a pull of 10 for hacking. So I'd have to get half.
Yeah, yep. At least 4. You have to get at least 4 hits.
Believe in the heart of the dice.
If you win this, you'll disable the tunnel.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think there would be. I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Where do I do this?
So you're gonna hit the roll button. It should either be on the bottom left of your screen, or you can select your token. It'll be at the top left.
Pull 10. Oh, really?
That's painful.
So this is how this goes down, right? Before the mission, you had some plan, but you didn't have a whole lot of prep on how to infiltrate this high security network. You know it's going to be difficult. And so you handcrafted a data bomb with the intent that if someone were to jack into your robot or try to hack into your robot, that they would trigger this data bomb and it would reverse hack and implant a virus into their network that would give you an access through their firewall. And you spent a lot of time and effort on this. You did some research. It's a handcrafted data bomb. You're proud of it, right? But you don't know what's in their network. You don't know what their network is like. You just know that it's expensive and it's gonna be challenging, potentially dangerous. Bach Humboldt walks over to your robot and places this device on essentially its wrist. And the robot stands up straight, and you can see its face, the LEDs flickering as it's being integrated into the network. And the data bomb is triggered, and the robot slumps. It goes completely inactive. In fact, parts of it begin to smoke and overheat and melt.
Oh no.
And there's like sparks shoot out of its head, and Bach takes a big step back, and he's, oh my goodness. And the robot just falls and is completely bricked. Its internals have been melted. It's completely inoperable. He's, oh my goodness.
What the hell was in that armband?
I'm sorry about your bodyguard, Miss Nova, but it seems like there was an incompatible security system inside there, and the black ice on my network just must have gone haywire, must have gone nuts. So he pulls out a device and he jacks into the melted robot and starts pulling up on his data pad strings of information. And he says, I'm sorry to tell you, Miss Nova, but some of these security programs were recognized as hazardous, potentially lethal in my network. Nova, to you, this means that this confirms that there is black ice on this network. Black ice being, if you get caught on the network, they will kill you.
Okay.
So Bach doesn't seem too upset, other than that he's damaged your property. He kind of gives off the vibe that his network did what it was supposed to do, to recognize threats. Now, Miss Nova, I wish I could compensate you for this, but that would be above my pay grade. I'm just the security overseer. My job here is done. But if you'd like to file a complaint with my managers, I can send you a request for reimbursement. But this robot is no longer serviceable.
Okay. Well, I'm not just going to throw it away.
He jacks out, and he like snaps his fingers, and a staffer comes by with like a shovel, like a forklift. And they roll up with a forklift and they load up your robots and boxes. Yeah, just place it within their shipping container unit, and I'm sure Miss Nova would like to have it repaired or replaced at some point. Again, my apologies, Miss Nova. The ice here can be pretty unforgiving. If you would like, I can send you a spec sheet on what is acceptable for our network.
Well, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, you see an email. It's an apology email with a list of specs that are allowed. How much was that bot worth?
Oh boy. See, that bot wasn't just a normal bot. It was basically her companion.
Yeah, so
definitely, I'm gonna hope the personality matrix is intact still.
Do you mention that to Bach that it had a personality?
Yes.
Oh no, he seems gutted. He's heartbroken. Oh my goodness, Miss Nova, no, this was your personal project. This was
companion.
You had a connect. Oh my goodness, that can't be. I'm gonna have to discuss with the network engineer that these protocols must be. There must be some kind of warning system. They can't just ice people. They can't just be running around. At this point, he's pretty upset. He feels like you are going to report him to his manager for misconduct. So before we end the session, I will give somebody an opportunity to disable the scan tunnel. And if this fails, some of your equipment's not going to make it through.
Okay.
We have a volunteer.
I have no idea how Krim would do anything of that sort.
Same.
I mean, if by some sort of miracle the path Zero is taking just so happens to go over the machine, and he's able to maybe cut some wires, he'd be willing to.
I think that's a great idea. So Zero, thank you for raising your hand. Your brave soul. Does Zero know anything about hardware?
I mean, basic security systems. I think he'd study up on those, just so that he knew how to avoid them, how to get past them. He has some basic hacking, electronic warfare, cyber combat.
What's the
knowledge,
so
skills.
I would recommend, because you still on the network and there's a little bit of static, but you know what happened to Nova's bot. I would say at this point the thought of hacking into this network, Zero thinks it's like a bullet to the brain. Like that's where
Yeah.
everybody's at. It's a pretty
He
clear
won't hack
impression.
it. Yeah.
Unless you're an expert hacker with a high-powered cyber deck, it's a suicide mission to try and get into this network. So Nova might be able to do it with her access to her deck. If Zero has hardware or machine or anything technical related to like not software or not hacking.
Oh, well, he has a knife.
Yeah, you want to just start cutting at wires?
Yes.
Okay. let's let's do your logic plus intuition.
So he has enhanced perception, right? So I feel like he'd be able to perceive a bit of the electric static going around him, and he would probably notice a machine that's doing some sort of electromagnetic pulses to try to figure out, to try to scan people for their cybernetics. I think he'd feel that, and he'd know if he was at the right place.
I think that's kind of pushing it, right? Like if Zero knows what he's looking for, I think he can do this. But if he's not an engineer or a mechanic or a technician, he's not going to be able to just stab the right wire. So Krim, you mentioned like I don't know what Krim would do in this situation. Magic? I would recommend.
Yeah, but how does magic interact with technology? That's a big question.
So it doesn't have to be technology. You could try to manipulate Bach. You could try to, mind control this guy. You could try to implant a suggestion. In fact, you do have some help from Merlin.
Okay, you know what? I got it.
You also have a spirit guy.
Yes.
Quick question.
I want to try to implant the worry that if he scans more of Nova's stuff, more of the stuff is going to break, and he's going to be in real big trouble.
So I think that combined with the idea that the show is on like a time budget that you guys need to get your staff through and get them set up. I think that's a great idea. So Bach is sweating, right? He's looking at this robot that's complete. It's smoking. It's like it's fucked. It's completely bricked. It was probably 6 figures, very expensive, and now it's gone. So he basically just killed one of Nova's friends and does not want to end up on TikTok like losing his job, right? Oh yeah, this goblin dude bricked my robot, and Nova's fans are like, kill him. So he's distracted. I would say, Krim, if you wanted to like try to sneakily cast a suggestion into his mind, that you can totally do that. Now, the way spells work, like I discussed, is you're gonna have to choose a force rating between 1 and 5 for Krim, and that's what kind of sucks about Shadowrun and Magicians is even though your essence is like 5.8, right? That means that it's a 5. Your maximum magic rating is a 5. I don't know if Chummer calculates it that way, but so you can cast your spells up to a 5, and what I'd recommend is getting 0.8 more cyberware because it doesn't matter. You've got to, you can only get a maximum of 5. So you have to choose 1 through 5, and that's the force rating of the spell. And based on the force rating depends on how effective it is, but it also how draining it is on you. And so if you don't pass the drain test, then you'll take a little bit of stun damage.
Okay, and the drain test is what now?
It's based on your tradition. And so it'll say on Chummer, your tradition will be like will plus int or some shit.
Okay, my tradition. Where'd you go? Will plus int, yeah, so it's 9.
So you will
I would
roll a pool
roll-
of 9 to
roll-
resist whatever the force is of your spell. And then you'll take the difference in stun damage. Now think about it, you have a stun pool of 11, so if you take 2 stun, not that big a deal.
Yeah, I'm also thinking that this is kind of make it or break it here since Nova failed so spectacularly.
So I'm
know.
going to say the test for this is a 3. And so if you get a 2 and spend an edge, you'll be able to get it. If I was you, I'd cast this at a force 5, but that's the maximum.
I'm going to. Yep. So what do I roll for this?
So roll a pool of, you have a spellcasting pool? You should have a spellcasting pool, some sort of magic pool.
So much on this thing.
I know, it's crazy. That's why I like the simple version. Is it in your skills?
It wouldn't be under skills. I have binding, pistol, sneaking, summoning, survival, and counterspelling in my skills.
What's your counterspell pool?
10.
And we'll just use that. It's close enough.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll your pool of 10. You need to get at least 3 hits.
Boom.
There it is. Now you can see the 2 1s in there. If it was 3 1s or more, then it would be a minor glitch. So that's just, if. So you didn't get a glitch. You got 3 hits. So you cast, like you walk up behind Bach, and he's distracted, and you cast this spell of suggestion. What's that look like for Krim?
He's holding on to his counterspell charm and just walking behind him, muttering, "Oh, this show is going to be going on too late. We're not going to get there on time. What is going to happen to us?"
So Krim, you are, using this these words to weave like an aura of doubt in the astral space, and people without astral perception wouldn't be able to see this. So like the civilians around that are moving around, but you have to kind of wiggle your fingers a little bit to weave this doubt that's coming out of your mouth. It's energy that you are pulling together, and then you just push it into like a gas cloud, an astral gas cloud, into this guy's face, and you can kind of lightly see his aura through astral perception shift and be affected by this gas as the 2 auras begin to mix together. And yeah, Nova, you kind of get a wink from Krim, but you see this goblin engineer guy sweating, falling over you, kind of wringing his hands a little bit, not sure what to do. It gets worse. His hands kind of shake, and he starts like scratching his head nervously, and he says, Miss Nova, I have to make this right. I'm so sorry. Please don't bring this up the chain. I take my job very seriously, and I really can't afford to lose this gig. It's really hard for a metahuman out here. And starts basically begging and pleading.
Okay, so I just rolled for my for the resist
drain.
or whatever.
Yeah, look at that. It's 5 hits. So you cast it at a force 5, and you got 5 hits to resist drain, so you didn't take any drain. So that's great. Like, you're in the zone, man. So that's how magic works. So just remember that, like, First of all, I don't care what your spell list is. Second of all, if you don't have a spell casting skill, we'll just wing it as that pool of 10. And then, you know, you're going to have to resist drain based on the force of your spell. That's it. So Nova, this guy's basically begging you at this point. Do you tell him to shut off the scan tunnel?
Yeah, I was like, just let my stuff through. We're wasting enough time already. I've got this to worry about as well now.
He's like not only relieved, but like just panicked at this point, right? And his like Krim, you can see his aura is just like spiraling into doubt. It's like turning purple, and it's like stained with this doubt. You almost feel like maybe you went too far. Like this is gonna last longer than you thought. This guy's probably gonna have permanent anxiety. But he rushes into his office, right? He's right away with Stover, right away. The show must go on. You know, he's fidgety, he's nervous. He runs into his office and starts typing away at his console. And you see the scan tunnel. It's got these sort of faint red lasers that flicker on and off. It gets deactivated. And Bach comes out and he starts snapping his fingers, and he taps his comm link, and he starts barking orders. You know, get shipping container, blah 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 blah, through this scan tunnel now, and make sure the bus is ready to pick up these 4 passengers immediately, blah blah. And so you guys, you know, Nova's very disappointed in him. Kind of went from being generous and giving this guy a ticket to giving off an air of like, now I wish I hadn't. And this goblin chief security guy is more worried about losing his job at this point. Pushes your goods through. On the other side of the scan tunnel, it goes from sort of a darkly lit industrial dock full of shipping containers to a beautifully lit, perfect weather, inner dome residential city. It's like walking into a different city. Get a map here. As you walk into the interior of the Puget Pearl, it's like a completely different world. There's artificial sunlight, clouds, and environment being projected on the inside of this dome. And so it looks like you're in a completely different place. It's not raining like it is in Seattle every day. It's sunny, you know, it's blue skies. The lighting is just right to not be too harsh. In fact, the sun is like, there is no sun, it's just artificially lit. It's beautifully landscaped, trees, green lawns, plenty of privacy. You know, the trees are covering different angles of these villas, these extremely modern, expensive villas. You can see there are roads, paved roads, everything is very well manicured. You can see squads of these landscaping robots moving about the premises, trimming hedges, sweeping up, vacuuming, things like that. You can see delivery drones coming and going. And so they're just roto drones that are flying to and from. It looks like they're delivering pizzas, delivering packages, bringing supplies to these crews. You don't notice any security robots at all. Just the grounds crew. And waiting for you is a bus. And the bus opens up, and it's basically, it says on the banner, the digital banner there, the address of the Airbnb villa that you rented. You can see on like a hover trolley this shipping container being transported, and so it goes on ahead of you. The idea is that you don't have your vehicles, you're not going to need them, and so this bus will take you wherever you need to go, and when you're ready to leave, it will bring you back to the dock.
Okay.
Okay, so I do have one question. When I cast it with a force of 5, what benefit does that have?
So if you the target will have to resist based on the force, right? So like if you cast it at a force of 5 and you roll your spell casting, and you can get up to 5 hits. So not only is that your limit, but it's also the thing that they have to resist. So if you succeed without a glitch, they're going to have to resist the amount of hits that you got. So if you rolled it at a force, or if you decided, oh, I'm going to cast this at a force 2, you're going to roll your spell casting thing. You can only get up to a maximum of 2 hits. So then the enemy, the target, has to resist at least 2. So by rolling it at a maximum power, you put yourself at risk of drain, but you also make it harder for the spell to resist and easier for it to succeed. It's very complicated. Shadowrun magic is rough. It's one of the big things where it's like, no, we just shouldn't do this. So let me show you here. You're seeing these roto drones delivering packages. You're seeing these groundskeeping drones maintaining the premises, and you've got this bus here. That's going
Party
to take
bus.
you.
Woo!
Yeah.
What's that? That third crisis looking
Oh yeah. Don't worry about him.
there?
I should be the one worrying about him.
Yeah. So this is where we're going to end this session, and we'll pick
Okay.
up on the 29th. You guys have made it inside the high security luxury barge known as the Puget Pearl. One of the things
And all it cost us was a robot.
yeah.
A very expensive robot, but a robot.
Thinking about, because I can leave this page open if you guys want to strategize. In the center, just like Merlin described, in the center of this community is a massive cooling tower. So it's a pillar that connects the ground level all the way up to the top of the dome. And it has some like maintenance scaffolding and things like that. But it seems like whatever reactor is powering this massive facility is using this cooling tower to vent its exhaust and keep the servers cool. Yeah,
Is that what you call a panopticon?
it's kind of like that. Yeah, except
Oh.
a panopticon. Except it's just a tower that extends from floor to ceiling in this massive dome. But yeah,
So all these rich people are under watch.
No, actually, we'll get into scouting out the
Secret
interior of this.
prison.
But this is a luxury. Like these guys are very private. They're allowed to get away with certain things inside here that they wouldn't in the public eye.
So did Zero get in?
We will cover that at the beginning of the next session.
Bye, Zero.
Yeah.
We didn't know you long, but